Chapter 928. Zhang Heng had been looking forward to the reward, but he didn't expect to get it. Instead, he got a big slap. He asked with a confused face, "General, you said Qin Haodong is still alive? That's impossible. I've already cut off his head." Jiang Bin kicked him to the ground and said angrily, "T. General Xiahou and I just saw Qin Haodong. He didn't even lose a hair, let alone his head." Zhang Heng said, "That's impossible. I clearly cut off his head." Xiahou Hongxiang said with a gloomy face, "Where is the head? I threw it on the side of the road, but I can find it now." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Take us with you." Zhang Heng got up from the ground and rushed to the bushes he had passed last night with Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin. After arriving here, the thick smell of blood was still there. He jumped into the bushes and took out a head that was covered in dried blood. "General, look, I really killed him," Zhang Heng said and raised the head in his hand. When Jiang Bin saw the face of the head, he was infuriated and sent Zhang Heng flying again with a kick. "Look who the F***ck did you just kill?" Zhang Heng was kicked and didn't know what was going on. He looked down and found that it was Li Gao's head in his hand. Jiang Bin said angrily, "Zhang Heng, I asked you to kill Qin Haodong, but you killed Li Gao. What do you mean?" General, I really killed Qin Haodong." Zhang Heng was completely dumbfounded. He clearly saw Qin Haodong lying on the bed, and then cut off his head with a knife. How could it be Li Gao? Jiang Bin looked at him with disgust. "What's the use of keeping a piece of trash like you?" Then he waved his hand behind him, and 7 or 8 guards immediately rushed over, pressed Zhang Heng to the ground, and cut off his head with a knife. Xiahou Hongxiang didn't even look at Zhang Heng, and rushed back to the general's mansion angrily. Jiang Bin followed him closely. "Please forgive me, General," Jiang Bin said. "Forget it," Xiahou Hongxiang said with a gloomy expression. "This Qin brat is extremely cunning. It seems that he still has some unknown methods." Jiang Bin gritted his teeth and said, "General, why don't I take some people and surround him tonight? Let's see how many heads he has left. You go out first. I'll think about it first." Xiahou Hongxiang waved his hand in annoyance and asked Jiang Bin to leave. He did want to kill Qin Haodong, but he didn't want to make too much noise. He didn't want to have a bad relationship with Princess Xingyu. Just as he was thinking about how to kill Qin Haodong quietly, a black shadow suddenly appeared in his room. This person was wearing a black robe and a ghost mask on his face. His entire body was filled with a dense ghostly aura. People from the Ghost King sect. After realizing the identity of this person, Xiahou Hongxiang's body immediately tensed up. His genuine qi circulated crazily, ready to attack at any time. The person opposite him said, "General Xiahou, don't be nervous. I'm here to discuss cooperation with you." "Cooperation?" Xiahou Hongxiang said. "I can't think of any cooperation with you people from the Ghost King sect." However, he didn't dare to act rashly, because the person opposite him had a strong aura, and his cultivation was not lower than his. He must have a prominent status in the Ghost King sect. The man in black said, "General Xiahou, just a few days ago, Qin Haodong killed the ghost slave of our Ghost King sect, and the ghost lady Zhong Xiaodai of the Ghost King sect. Do you think there is a possibility of cooperation between us?" Xiahou Hongxiang's expression changed. "You also want to kill Qin Haodong?" The man in black said in a cold voice. "No one can kill the people of our Ghost King sect and come out unscathed." Xiahou Hongxiang quickly calmed down. Although he really wanted to kill Qin Haodong, the Ghost King sect was the enemy of the Black Tortoise Kingdom after all. He said, "Your Ghost King sect is now wanted by the entire Black Tortoise Kingdom. It's good that I didn't kill you. There is no possibility of cooperation at all." The man in black didn't show any fear. He continued, "I know what you are worried about. Tonight, our Ghost King sect will take action against Qin Haodong. As long as you wait and see, and don't send people to get involved, it will be fine." Xiahou Hongxiang's heart moved. As long as he didn't get involved with the people of the Ghost King sect, he wouldn't be caught. This kind of cooperation was still possible. He said, "I can accept your suggestion, but you must promise not to hurt Princess Xingyue and the others." The man in black said coldly, "We only want to kill Qin Haodong." "Deal." Xiahou Hongxiang said. Tonight, I will transfer the city defense army away from the yard. It will be convenient for you to take action then. Okay, the man in black said, and then quickly disappeared from the room. Xiahou Hongxiang wandered around the room twice and felt that there were no loopholes in the matter. He called Jiang Bin and told him what had just happened. Jiang Bin said, General, do you think the people of the Ghost King sect are trustworthy? Xiahou Hongxiang said, although the people of the Ghost King sect are cunning, I heard from Xiao Yulong that Qin Haodong did kill the 12 ghost slaves of the Ghost King sect and killed the Ghost King's ghost concubine, Zhong Xiaodai, in the 7th stage pagoda. With the Ghost King sect's character of seeking revenge for the smallest grievance, they will definitely not spare this boy. Moreover, we don't need to do anything about this matter, and no one else will catch us. So I think we can give it a try. Tonight, you can transfer the city defense army away from the yard and let the people of the Ghost King sect do it for us. If the boy surnamed Qin dies in the hands of the Ghost King sect, Princess Xingyue's anger will only be directed at the Ghost King sect. It will have nothing to do with us. Jiang Bin raised his thumb and said, General, this is indeed a good way to kill people with a borrowed knife. I will arrange it now. Just as Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin decided to kill people with a borrowed knife, in a room not far from them, a middle-aged woman in her 50s was looking at the guard in front of her angrily. Have you found out? Yesterday, when the general returned to Pegasus City, he did not directly go back to the mansion. Where did he go? And this morning after breakfast he ran out. Where did he go? This woman was Xiahou Hongxiang's wife, Zhang Sunlan. She was the distant niece of the national commander, Sun Cheng. Xiahou Hongxiang had relied on this wife's nepotism to get in touch with Wu Yuanyang. Otherwise, with his ordinary ability and low cultivation, it would have been impossible for him to sit in the position he had today. However, there was always a price to pay. Xiahou Hongxiang's wife was extremely fierce and kept a close eye on him. She almost cut off all contact between him and any other women. Just yesterday, Zhang Sunlan found that after her man returned to the city, he did not directly go home. Instead, he went somewhere else. Suddenly, she became suspicious. Xiahou Hongxiang also had his own considerations. His brother and nephew had been killed by Qin Haodong, and he could do nothing about it. Naturally, he did not want such a shameful thing to be spread out. Therefore, after returning, he did not reveal Zhao Xingyue's identity, nor did he explain the situation to his wife. The more he did this, the more suspicious Zhang Sunlan became. So she sent someone out early to inquire about the situation. The guard was Hu Jiwen, the chief guard of the general's mansion, and also Zhang Sunlan's confidant. He said, Madam, I have already checked it out. After coming back yesterday, the general went directly to the yard. He also went there this morning. The yard? Zhang Sunlan said with a fierce look. That's where I spend my summer vacation. There is no one there at all. What is he doing there? Hu Jiwen said. I don't know the specific situation, but there are people living there now. Zhang Sunlan asked. People living there? Who lives there? Hu Jiwen said. I don't know the specific identity, but I saw 6 very beautiful young women in the yard. He was Zhang Sunlan's confidant from her mother's family, so naturally, he would not hide anything from Xiahou Hongxiang. Zhang Sunlan grabbed the teacup in front of her and smashed it to the ground. She shouted angrily, This old thing, how dare he hide a mistress behind my back? See how I will deal with him. After that, she walked out of the room aggressively. Hu Jiwen hurriedly stopped her and said, Madam, what are you going to do? Of course I'm going to settle accounts with that old thing. I'm not dead yet, and he dares to keep women behind my back. Hu Jiwen said, Madam, this matter must be considered in the long run. We can't rush it. If you go now, the general will refuse to admit it. He will turn around and ask someone to send those women away, but there is no evidence at all. If the general is vigilant, it will not be easy to find those women in the future. That's right. Zhang Sunlan calmed down a lot. She knew that her chief guard was full of tricks. She asked, Then what do you think I should do? Hu Jiwen said with a sinister smile. Madam, you forget that to catch a thief, you must catch the stolen goods. And to catch the adulterers, you must catch both of them. Of course, we have to go to the yard to catch those women first. At that time, it will be impossible for the general to deny it. You're right. Let's go catch those fox spirits first. And then we'll settle accounts with that old thing. Zhang Sunlan cried. Hurry up and call the trusted guards of the mansion. Let's go to the yard to catch those little demons now. Okay, madam, I'll do it right away. After Hu Jiwen finished speaking, he immediately summoned 30 guards. These people were the elites of the mansion. The lowest cultivation had reached the soul formation stage, and 7 or 8 of them had reached the void training stage. Zhang Sunlan brought these people and came to the courtyard in a threatening manner. Qin Haodong, Zhao Xingyue and others had just finished breakfast when they heard a loud bang outside. The door was kicked open. Then, more than 30 people rushed in from the outside, led by an old woman with a fierce face. The little witch asked, Who are you? Who asked you to come? This is my house. I can come and go as I please. Do I need to report to you? Zhang Sunlan looked at Zhao Xingyue, the little witch, Morong Jinghong and other women. She automatically ignored Qin Haodong. This old thing had so many fox spirits. No wonder he didn't come back home. Qin Haodong immediately understood that this woman was Xiahou Hongxiang's wife. She came to catch him in the act. As the little princess of the Black Tortoise Academy, the little witch had never suffered a loss. Now that she was called a fox spirit, she immediately put her hands on her hips and said discontentedly, Old woman, who are you calling a fox spirit? Bitch. Son, how dare you call me an old hag? Zhang Sunlan had always been domineering in the general's mansion. No one had ever called her an old woman. Hu Jiwen cried, Little girl, do you know who you're talking to? The little she-devil shouted, Who cares? She's just an ugly old woman. You. Zhang Sunlan trembled all over and was about to go crazy with anger. Zhao Xingyue frowned. She was now a princess, so she was naturally different from before. Who are you? And who allowed you to come here? Hu Jiwen said, Little girl, this is our General Xiao's wife, Mrs. Zhang Sun. Kneel down and apologize quickly, and she may spare your life. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Zhao Xingyue was furious. How dare you talk to me like this? Where is Xiahou Hongxiang? Ask him to come and see me quickly. Chapter 929. Little Vixen, do you still want to find that old thing to back you up? This old lady will tell you today that even a god can't save you. Zhang Sunlan said and pounced toward Zhao Xingyue with a crazed expression, reaching out to grab her face. However, she was just an ordinary shrew and didn't know martial arts at all. How could she be Zhao Xingyue's opponent? Just as she stepped forward, she was slapped in the face by Zhao Xingyue. Her fat body flew out like a sandbag and fell to the ground with a plop. Madam, are you all right? The Zhang Sun family was the overlord of Pegasus City. Hu Ziwen didn't expect that the girl in front of him would dare to hit Zhang Sunlan. He ran over and helped his master up. Zhao Xingyue's slap was so heavy that Zhang Sunlan lost a few of her teeth. She climbed up from the ground with her face covered in blood. She pointed at Zhao Xingyue and shouted, Little Vixen, how dare you hit this old lady? Today this old lady will skin you alive. After cursing, she turned to Hu Ziwen and said, What are you waiting for? Hurry up and tie these little vixens up for me. See how this old lady will deal with them. Hu Ziwen waved his hand at the guards beside him. Are you all idiots? Didn't you hear the madam's order? Hurry up and arrest these people. After receiving their master's order, the guards shouted and surrounded Zhao Xingyue and the others. All of you stop, are you trying to rebel? Zhao Xingyue said with a cold expression. This princess is Princess Xingyue of Black Tortoise Kingdom. You dare to touch me? Aren't you afraid of having your entire family killed? Hearing that the other party was a princess, the guards were shocked. They quickly stopped what they were doing and turned their heads to look at Zhang Sunlan. Zhang Sunlan was also shocked. The reason why their family could be so powerful in Pegasus City was because of the power of Sun Cheng and Wu Yuanyang. If the other party was really a princess of Black Tortoise Kingdom, they definitely couldn't afford to offend her. Just when she didn't know what to do, Hu Ziwen whispered in her ear, Madam, don't be scared by this little girl. How could she be Princess Xingyue? Which princess doesn't bring a large number of guards and palace maids when they travel? Do you see her here? Furthermore, if the princess had come to Pegasus City, the general would have made a big fuss about it. In my opinion, this little girl is just using the title of princess to scare you. You're right. I was almost fooled by this fox spirit. Zhang Sunlan immediately agreed with Hu Ziwen. Although she had not entered the palace to see the princess, she knew the majesty of the royal family. It was impossible for the princess to travel without someone accompanying her, and it was even more impossible for her to be so quiet. She would never have guessed that Xiahou Hongxiang had kept it a secret for the sake of his reputation. Zhang Sunlan took 2 steps forward and yelled at Zhao Xingyue arrogantly, "Little vixen, you've become a princess. I'm still the queen mother of the West." She then shouted at the guards, "Why are you all standing there like idiots? This little vixen is pretending to be a princess. Capture her for me." Since Zhang Sunlan had given the order, these people no longer hesitated and immediately rushed over with their claws and fangs bared. Zhao Xingyue sent the imperial bodyguard at the very front flying with a kick, and said to Zhang Sunlan with a cold and stern expression, "You dare to attack me. Have you thought about the consequences? The consequences are that I'll skin you alive today." At this time, Zhang Sunlan had already determined that the princess in front of her was a fake, and once again urged her subordinates to act quickly. Seeing that things could not be good, Qin Haodong and the others were no longer polite. They all drew out their weapons and fought with the guards. Although there were many people on Hu Ziwen's side, he was the only one who had reached the completion of the void training realm, and the others were a little worse. Qin Haodong's side had many masters, and none of them was weak. For a time, they were evenly matched, and it was hard to tell who would win. The little demon girl was protected in the middle of the crowd, and she began to use her summoning skill. After the living spirit gate slowly opened up, 6 3-headed hell dogs charged out in quick succession. For some reason, the proportion of Cerberus she summoned recently was particularly high. This kind of magical beast was extremely fierce, and its combat power was extremely strong. After joining the battle, it immediately reversed the situation. Each Cerberus was equivalent to an expert at the completion of the void training realm, and they were not afraid of death. The 6 Cerberus immediately bit the guards and made them cry for their parents, throw away their helmets and armor, and flee in all directions. This, Zhang Sunlan was completely scared. Originally, she thought it was just an easy way to catch the adulterer. She did not expect these people to be so strong that the guards she brought with her were beaten like this. Seeing that he was no match for them, Hu Ziwen immediately rushed over and pulled her, shouting, "Madam, run!" The little demon girl shouted, "Ugly old woman, it's not that easy to run away." She immediately commanded the Cerberus to pounce over, and surrounded Hu Ziwen and Zhang Sunlan in the middle. "Guard captain, hurry up and save me." Facing several fierce Cerberus, Zhang Sunlan was trembling with fear, and her soul almost left her body. At this time, Hu Ziwen was facing the attack of 2 Cerberus, and he had no strength to fight back, so how could he care about Zhang Sunlan? Zhang Sunlan turned her head and was about to escape, but she was slapped to the ground by another Cerberus. Fortunately, the little demon girl did not give the order to kill, so the Cerberus did not kill her, but just fiercely bit her buttocks. "Ah!" Zhang Sunlan immediately let out a heart-wrenching scream. She had been living like a princess in the general's mansion, and had not even suffered the slightest grievance, not to mention having a piece of flesh bitten off. "Stop, all of you stop quickly." Following a roar, Xiahou Hongxiang rushed in with Jiang Bin and a group of soldiers. Xiahou Hongxiang was extremely henpecked. Originally, after discussing the plan to kill with a borrowed knife, he ran to see his wife, but who knew that he could not find Zhang Sunlan's shadow after searching the entire inner residence. He also had a confidant by Zhang Sunlan's side. He immediately called her over and asked, only to find out that his wife had actually brought people to the yard to catch the adulterer. This made Xiahou Hongxiang suddenly break out in a cold sweat. Princess Xingyu lived there, and this stupid woman went to catch the adulterer. Wasn't she looking for trouble? He hurriedly gathered people and rushed to the yard, but in the end, they were still a step late. When they arrived, The two sides had already begun to fight. "Stop, all of you, hurry up and stop for me." Xiahou Hongxiang desperately shouted to stop, and the guards who had been beaten and fled in all directions ran faster. Qin Haodong waved his hand, and the people on his side also stopped fighting. The little demon girl sent the 6 three-headed hellhounds back to the living spirit gate. Zhang Sunlan covered her bloody buttocks and crawled up from the ground. After seeing Xiahou Hongxiang, she immediately cursed, "You damned old man, you actually raised a vixen behind my back, and even let her beat me up like this. If you don't kill all these vixens for me today, I'll go to my uncle and complain." Hearing his wife call Princess Xingyu a vixen in public, Xiahou Hongxiang was scared out of his wits. Now the power of the Xuanwu royal family was extremely solid, and everything he had now depended on the royal family. If he really angered King Zhao Xianlong, the whole Xiahou family would be destroyed. "You shut up. This is the princess of the imperial court. Hurry up and kneel to the princess and apologize." As Xiahou Hongxiang spoke, he raised his hand and slapped Zhang Sunlan's face. "Bastard, how dare you hit me for that little vixen? I'll kill you." Zhang Sunlan was slapped and bitten by the three-headed hellhound. At this time, she almost lost her mind and rushed to Xiahou Hongxiang with her teeth and claws. "You bitch, shut up." Xiahou Hongxiang, who was ashamed into anger, kicked Zhang Sunlan to the ground. "Are you crazy? Hurry up and apologize to Her Royal Highness." Zhang Sunlan squatted on the ground and came to her senses. "Your Royal Highness, is this person really the princess?" Zhao Xingyue said in a stern voice. "Xiahou Hongxiang, your Xiahou family is really great. Your nephew wants me to be his 13th concubine, and now your wife comes here to catch us in the act. Do you still care about me, the princess, or the Xuanwu royal family? Your Royal Highness, please calm down. Please forgive me." Xiahou Hongxiang knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing to Zhao Xingyue. This time, Zhang Sunlan was completely dumbfounded. She was sure that the person in front of her was the princess of Xuanwu Kingdom. Hu Ziwen, who was next to her, was dumbfounded. It was his idea just now. He told Zhang Sunlan that this person could not be the princess. If she really investigated, he was afraid that he would lose his head. Xiahou Hongxiang turned back and said angrily to Zhang Sunlan, "What the hell are you looking at? Hurry up and kowtow to Her Royal Highness." "Your Royal Highness, I was blind. I offended Her Royal Highness. Please forgive me." Although Zhang Sunlan was shrewd and fierce, she was not stupid. She knew that the power of her family depended on the Black Tortoise Wang family. Once they really angered Princess Xingyue, she was afraid that Zhang Suncheng would not be able to protect them. Zhao Xingyue didn't even bother to look at her. Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Tell me, how should we deal with today's matter?" Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Please forgive me, Your Royal Highness. I will discipline this bitch strictly when I go back." Zhao Xingyue waved her hand and said, "Hurry up and go back. I will report this matter truthfully to my father." "Your Royal Highness, please calm down. I will write to His Majesty and ask for forgiveness." After saying that, Xiahou Hongxiang kowtowed again, then stood up and said angrily to the people around him, "Hurry up and go back." Soon, he returned to the general's mansion with his people. As soon as they arrived home, Zhang Sunlan returned to her usual shrewdness. "Xiahou Hongxiang, what do you mean by this? When did Princess Xingyue come? Why didn't I know anything? You must explain to me clearly." "Madam, please calm down. Let me treat your injury first, then listen to me slowly." Xiahou Hongxiang quickly took out the golden sore medicine and applied it to Zhang Sunlan's butt. Then he told the whole thing from beginning to end. "Madam, this matter is indeed a bit troublesome. Although Princess Xingyue's status in the Black Tortoise royal family is not high, she is the king's daughter after all. This time, things happen one after another in our Pegasus city. If she goes back and reports this to us, King Zhao Jianlong will definitely be furious. At that time, our Xiahou family's status will not be guaranteed." Only then did Zhang Sunlan understand the cause and effect. She knew that she had caused a great disaster. After thinking for a moment, she said, "Don't worry. I will go to the Black Tortoise Royal City later. At that time, I will ask my uncle for help. We will definitely be able to get through this." Xiahou Hongxiang shook his head. This matter concerns the Black Tortoise royal family's reputation. I am afraid that even the imperial tutor cannot say much. Zhang Sunlan asked nervously. Then what should we do? A fierce look flashed across Xiahou Hongxiang's face. Originally, I did not want to make a move against Zhao Xingyue. But now that things have come to this, I can only silence her. Zhang Sunlan said. Will this work? If something happens to Princess Xingyue in our Pegasus City, our Xiahou family will not be able to escape the blame. We will have to bear the king's anger. Xiahou Hongxiang said. We must carefully plan this matter. We cannot let the Black Tortoise royal family find any flaws. Chapter 930. Zhang Sunlan asked in confusion. What do you mean? Xiahou Hongxiang said. I've already sent a letter to the Xuanwu royal family yesterday, asking them to send someone to take Princess Xingyue back. As long as she leaves the jurisdiction of Pegasus City, she will die. That's great. I can finally take my revenge. Zhang Sunlan gnashed her teeth and said. Not only Princess Xingyue, but also the people around her. Especially that boy, and the little girl who let the dog out. I want to cut them into pieces. Xiahou Hongxiang said. I'm afraid it's not your turn to do anything to Qin Haodong. The Ghost King sect will send him to hell tonight. Zhang Sunlan said in surprise. Old man, when did you hook up with the Ghost King sect? Those people are all evil people wanted by the Xuanwu kingdom. Being entangled with them will bring great trouble to our Xiahou family. Don't worry, I'm just secretly cooperating with them once. Xiahou Hongxiang explained his plan of getting someone else to do the dirty work from beginning to end. In the end he said, that kid has an extremely powerful Class 7 magical beast. We'll get the Ghost King sect to eliminate him first. It'll be much easier for us to deal with Princess Xingyue in the future. Zhang Sunlan said. Old man, that's a good idea, but don't let the Xuanwu royal family catch you. Xiahou Hongxiang said. Don't worry, we'll just secretly move the city defense army away. The Ghost King sect will do everything. There will be no flaws. The couple discussed in secret, but Qin Haodong, who was in the yard, saw everything clearly. Just now, when Xiahou Hongxiang and Zhang Sunlan knelt down in panic, he secretly installed 2 tapping devices on the 2 of them. These things were looted from the alien demon treasure house. They were the top high-tech products. They were only the size of a grain of rice, so it was difficult to attract attention. The Lingwu continent was not on Earth, so Xiahou Hongxiang and Zhang Sunlan didn't know what it was. Moreover, this kind of bug had its own radar signal transmitter, so there was no need for other networks. Otherwise, there would be no way to use it in the Lingwu continent. After listening to the conversation between the 2, Qin Haodong closed the laptop and sneered. These 2 people were so audacious that they even dared to have designs on Princess Starmoon. Also, these people from the Ghost King sect were really endless. Since they wanted to find trouble with him, he had to properly entertain them. Just as he was thinking, the little demon girl pushed open the door and walked in. Little brother, Sister Xingyue invited us to Pegasus City. What do you think? Apart from 2 Jiao, who grew up in Pegasus City, this was the first time everyone else had come here, so they wanted to go out and see what was going on. Qin Haodong nodded and walked out of the yard with the girls. But as soon as they arrived at the door, they were blocked by a group of soldiers. The leading officer said, General Xiahou has ordered that without the general's token, no one is allowed to take a step out of the courtyard. What do you mean by that? Little Demonis said angrily. We're not criminals. Why can't you let us out? The officer said stiffly, This is General Xiahou's order. We are just carrying it out. Zhao Xingyue was originally in high spirits, but her expression immediately turned cold. What do you mean? How dare you block this empress's path? The officer knew Princess Xingyue's identity, so he said according to Xiahou Hongxiang's instructions, I'm sorry, Your Highness. General Xiahou is also thinking about your safety. He is afraid that you will be in danger if you go out. Zhao Xingyue frowned. Go and get Xiahou Hongxiang for me. The officer had already thought of an excuse. Please forgive me, Your Highness. General Xiahou sent me here to protect the princess. Without the general's order, my men and I dare not leave our posts. Zhao Xingyue was so angry that her face turned livid, But the other party kept saying that he was thinking about her safety, so she couldn't find any evidence against him. Qin Haodong knew very well that Xiahou Hongxiang was afraid that they would sneak away, so he had a heavy guard here. He said, "Forget it, General Xiahou has his own plans. Since he won't let us go out, let's rest here. I'm really tired these past few days." Princess Xingyue had no other choice, so they could only go back to the room bitterly. Fortunately, time was not lonely. For cultivators, a day was just the time to meditate. After dinner, Qin Haodong returned to his small yard. Today, he had already made a plan to deal with the Ghost King sect. He took out a large bag of high-explosive drugs from the ring. The drugs were hidden under the bed. This big bag weighed 40 kilograms. If it exploded, the power of the explosion was no less than that of a small artillery shell. It was enough to blow up a heavy tank on Earth. If one's cultivation reached the form synthesis stage, his defense would be absolutely strong, and ordinary bullets could not hurt him at all. But if it was an amazingly powerful high-explosive drug, the effect of the drugs would be different, especially since the people of the Black Tortoise continent did not know that there was an explosion. The effect of drugs would be better if they were caught off guard. He put the explosives in the bag. He put the remote control into his pocket. The rest was to wait for the people of the Ghost King sect to come to him. At midnight, it was quiet outside. Suddenly, dozens of black shadows appeared around the small yard. These people were all wearing black robes, looking like ghosts in the night. The only difference was the grimace mask on their faces. The leading man in black was wearing a golden mask. The 4 people behind him were wearing silver masks, and the other 30 people were wearing bronze masks. After surrounding the whole yard, the golden masked man in black shouted to the room, "Qin boy, come out and die." But after waiting for a long time, there was still no movement in the room. "Boy, do you think you can hide and not come out?" The golden masked man snorted and said to a silver masked man beside him, "You go and catch that boy." "Yes," the silver masked man answered. He rushed into Qin Haodong's room and smashed the whole window with his palm. But at this moment, a golden light suddenly appeared in the room. The Xianyuan sword, like a lightning cutting through the night sky, fiercely chopped at the silver-masked man. The silver-masked man shouted and punched at it. His cultivation had reached the early stage of the form synthesis stage. In addition, he had a strong thwart kung fu. His fist was as hard as iron, and he was not afraid of ordinary swords. But he never dreamed that the other party would use the Xianyuan sword, a great magic weapon. The sharp edge of the sword cut through his genuine qi in an instant, and then his fist was cut in half. "Ah!" The silver-masked man let out a scream, turned around and ran. But the Xianyuan sword that followed closely behind did not give him a chance at all. The silver-masked man was cut in half from head to toe. After killing the silver-masked man, Qin Haodong walked out of the room with the Xianyuan sword in his hand. "How dare you disturb my sleep with such little ability?" A cold light flashed in the golden-masked man's eyes. According to the information he received, the young man in front of him was only at the late stage of the refining realm. How did he suddenly become so powerful? Qin Haodong had his own plan. The people of the Ghost King sect in front of him stood very scattered. Blast, it was also very difficult to achieve a fatal effect. That's gonna blow up. In order to maximize the effect of the pill, he had to attract these people to his side as much as possible. So he had swallowed a great essence explosion pill to elevate his cultivation base to the late body integration stage. "Kid, do you think you can fight against the Ghost King sect with this little ability of yours? Stop dreaming," the golden-masked man said as he pulled out a long saber. The momentum of his body suddenly burst out. It was obvious that he was also an expert at the late body integration stage. However, this guy seemed to realize Qin Haodong's power. He did not rush over directly. Instead, he said to his subordinates, "Come with me. Don't delay too long. Let's end the battle quickly." After saying that, he took the lead, waved the long saber in his hand and rushed to Qin Haodong. The 3 silver-masked men followed closely, plus more than 30 ghost slaves at the peak of the void training realm. For a moment, the momentum was soaring and murderous. Although Qin Haodong had been promoted to the late body integration stage, he was only one person after all. The other side had many people, and none of them was weak. If they really fought, he would definitely suffer a big loss. However, he had achieved his goal now. There was no need to fight with these people. He smiled at the golden masked man, then took out the black remote control from his pocket and pressed the red button. The golden masked man rushed to the front with his subordinates. He did not understand what Qin Haodong took out of his hand. He thought it was some special weapon, so he did not immediately make a move. At the moment when he pressed the button of the remote control, Qin Haodong instantly hid in the 7-story pagoda. The people of the Ghost King sect had surrounded him, but suddenly found that he had disappeared. Where is he? Where did he go? The ghost slaves with swords and sabers shouted, and looked for Qin Haodong's shadow everywhere. A huge sense of crisis rose in the golden masked man's heart for no reason. He shouted, "There's danger, retreat." But before he could shout the word retreat, there was a loud bang. With Qin Haodong's house as the center, a powerful energy suddenly burst. 40 kilograms of high explosive blast. The bomb was equivalent to a large artillery shell. Although these people's cultivation was tyrannical, they still suffered heavy losses when they were caught off guard. None of the more than 30 ghost slaves were spared. They were all blown into mincemeat. The cultivation of the 3 silver-masked men had reached the form synthesis stage. With the strong genuine qi to protect their bodies, they could barely resist it, but they could not keep up with the explosion. With the power of the bomb, they were blown into pieces in the blink of an eye. The golden masked man reacted with the instinct of the strong. Blast at the time of the explosion, he had retreated dozens of meters away. Even so, he was lifted high by the powerful air wave. When he landed, he had lost an arm, and was lying on the ground vomiting blood. In the explosion blast at the moment of the drug, Qin Haodong teleported himself back to the 7-stage pagoda. This was completely another independent space, so he could not feel the explosion in Pegasus City at all. After adjusting for a while, he felt the explosion. The power of the drug should be almost dispersed, and then he was teleported back to Pegasus City again. When he stood in this small courtyard again, he found that it had become a large pit with a diameter of tens of meters. In addition to the rolling smoke, the people of the Ghost King sect had been completely blown into minced meat. Seeing the scene in front of him, Qin Haodong could not help but secretly click his tongue. The power of the drug was far beyond his imagination. Then he began to look around. His secret must not be taken away by these people of the Ghost King sect, so he could not leave anyone alive. 100 meters away, the golden masked man got up from the ground, but at this time the mask on his face had been completely blown away, revealing a ferocious face. Looking at his men who had been completely blown into minced meat, and his own arm that had disappeared into thin air, his eyes flashed with crazy hatred. He did not understand why things suddenly turned out like this. What was this thing? Why did it have such great power? Qin Haodong, just you wait, our Ghost King sect will never let you go. Chapter 931. Really? If that's the case, then I can't let you go. As soon as the voice fell, a smiling face appeared in front of the golden masked man. Qin Haodong looked at the guy and said jokingly, "You're so ugly. No wonder the people of the Ghost King sect wear a mask. Otherwise, even you would feel disgusted." "You." The golden masked man didn't expect Qin Haodong to suddenly appear in front of him. He said with a grim expression, "You've killed so many people of the Ghost King sect. What else do you want? Do you still need to ask? Of course, I want to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots." Qin Haodong looked at him and said, "Answer my questions, and maybe I can spare your life." "Don't even think about it, Qin boy. The Ghost King sect will not let you go." As he spoke, a crazy look flashed across the golden masked man's face. Qin Haodong was about to seal the guy's acupoints when a great sense of crisis suddenly rose from the bottom of his heart. Oh no, this guy is going to explode his spirit. He had experienced Zhong Xiaodia's spirit self-detonation before, so he knew how powerful the explosion of a master in the form synthesis stage was. He quickly moved his feet and ran away. Just when he was 100 meters away, there was a violent explosion behind him. An explosion. The golden masked man had reached the late stage of the form synthesis stage. Although the power of his spirit detonation was not as powerful as 40 kilograms of high explosive. Explosion. The huge wave of air pushed Qin Haodong dozens of meters away. Qin Haodong stood still and looked back, only to see another pit of more than 10 meters deep. Fortunately, the effect of the Yuan burst pill had not been removed, so his genuine qi was extremely strong. Otherwise, he would have been injured in the explosion. In the Pegasus City, there had been 2 strong explosions in a row in just a minute or two. But the Pegasus City was still calm, and the city defense army did not respond. Qin Haodong smiled coldly. It seemed that Xiahou Hongxiang was really cooperating with the Ghost King sect. Since they were on the same side, he had to make them pay some interest. Thinking of this, his figure quickly disappeared in the night sky, flying toward the center of the Pegasus City. Inside the general's residence, Xiahou Hongxiang, Zhang Sunlan, and Jiang Bin looked in the direction of the courtyard with a knowing smile on their faces. Jiang Bin said, "General Darren, the Ghost King sect has really put in a lot of effort to deal with such a kid." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "I know this kid dares to provoke anyone, but he actually provoked the Ghost King sect. He is destined to have a bad ending. This is also good. The Ghost King sect has finally avenged our Xiahou family." Zhang Sunlan gnashed her teeth and said, "It's a pity that I couldn't kill that brat with my own hands." Just then a second explosion sounded. Xiahou Hongxiang said, "No matter who did it, he will die." The Ghost King sect made such a big move. I guess that kid has been torn to pieces. The general is right, Jiang Bin said. "What should we do now?" Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Don't worry, let's wait for the Ghost King sect to finish their business, and then we'll go there to avoid conflict with them." Jiang Bin nodded and said, "It seems that we have underestimated the Ghost King sect in the past. They have hidden such a powerful force." Suddenly, he felt a sense of powerlessness. He knew that this was the aftereffect of the explosion of the Yuan Dan. With an idea in his mind, he released the 3-legged golden toad from the spirit beast bag. He sat on the back of the golden toad and continued to search in Pegasus City. With his current strength, he still couldn't have a direct confrontation with Xiahou Hongxiang. Therefore, what he needed to find now was Xiahou Hongxiang's treasury. He wanted to directly take away his money pouch, which could be considered as revenge for tonight's incident. Although he did not know where the treasure house of Pegasus City was, generally speaking, such a place must be extremely well guarded, and it would not be too far from the general's residence. Soon, he locked his target on a courtyard in the southwest corner of the general's residence. It did not look too obvious, but it was heavily guarded, and there was a faint fluctuation of a formation. He was sure that this was the treasure house of Pegasus City. He found a dark corner nearby and landed. First, he put away the 3-legged golden toad. Then he took out a disguise medicine and quickly disguised himself as Jiang Bin. At this time, the aftereffect of the explosion of the Yuan Dan had already passed, and his body was filled with energy again. He rose into the air and quickly flew towards the door of the treasure house. "Stop, who is it? If you don't stop, we will shoot." As soon as Qin Haodong appeared in front of the door, he was locked on by dozens of god-killing arrows. "How dare you? Do you want to rebel?" He angrily shouted and landed in front of the treasure house. "Oh, it's General Jiang Bin. General, why are you here so late at night?" The manager of the treasure house immediately greeted him with a face full of smiles. He knew that Jiang Bin was Xiahou Hongxiang's closest confidant, and he could not be offended. Qin Haodong said, "Such a big thing happened in the city just now, don't you know? General Xiahou ordered me to come and see how your defense is. This is an important place, and we cannot give the thieves any opportunity." The manager hurriedly said, "Don't worry, General. We heard the commotion just now, and now our brothers are all on guard. Not even a mosquito will be able to fly in." Qin Haodong pretended to be satisfied and nodded. "You did well just now. Open the treasure house, I will go in and have a look." The manager said hesitantly, "General, this is not very appropriate. According to General Xiao's rules, no one except him can enter the treasure house." "How dare you?" Qin Haodong said angrily. "Pegasus City has been attacked by the Ghost King sect, and General Xiao has already taken people to catch the thieves. That is why he asked me to come and check the treasure house. How dare you not let me in? If something happens, even if you have 100 heads, it will not be enough. Yes, I understand, General. The manager was so scared that he shivered. He did not dare to stop Qin Haodong anymore and let him into the treasure house. Only after entering the treasure house could he fully understand how tight the defense was. After passing through 7 heavy iron gates and 9 defensive formations, he finally reached the core of the treasure house. However, in front of Qin Haodong was a huge treasure house that was hundreds of square meters in size. There were all kinds of treasures, weapons, antiques, calligraphy, and paintings. They were all good things that Xiahou Hongxiang had collected. The reason why he did not carry these treasures with him was for safety reasons. After all, storage rings were used here, and once the ring was lost, it would be equivalent to losing everything. Therefore, he chose the safer treasure house. For example, some files on Earth, although there were computers, they still needed to be stored in paper. Most of the time, the more primitive the method, the safer it was. Secondly, most of the things here belonged to Pegasus City, which was the property of the Black Tortoise Kingdom. In order to avoid suspicion, he could not carry the treasure house with him. Qin Haodong did not care about other things. What he cared about the most were spirit stones. As long as he could find 1,000,000 top-grade spirit stones, he would be able to break through to the peak of the Void Training Realm. In the treasure house of Pegasus City, almost half of it was filled with top-grade spirit stones. It seemed that there were at least millions of them. The steward said, "General, you can see that everything here is intact. You should be relieved." Qin Haodong nodded. "You did well. I will immediately report to the general and ask him to reward you. Let's go." "Thank you, General Jiang." The steward was immediately overjoyed. Jiang Bin was Xiahou Hongxiang's close confidant. As long as he said a few good words for him, there would be no shortage of rewards. He turned around excitedly, but just as he was about to leave, he was hit in the back of the head. Suddenly, his vision went black and he lost consciousness. Qin Haodong knocked the steward out, then turned around and went to the treasure house filled with top-grade spirit stones. A golden light shot out from his Naiwan palace like a searchlight, and the top-grade spirit stones that were illuminated by the golden light were instantly stored in the 7th-floor pagoda. In just a few seconds, he had moved all the top-grade spirit stones in the treasure house. After that, he took off the steward's clothes, changed into his appearance, and hurried out of the treasure house. After going out, 2 guards came forward and said, "Steward, where is General Jiang?" Qin Haodong said, "He is checking the treasures in the treasure house. I suddenly need to go to the toilet. You stay here and guard me. I will be back in a moment." After that, he strode out of the door and found a place where no one was around to wash the disguise on his face. Then, he changed into a new set of clothes and flew in the direction of the yard. This trip to the treasure house was very profitable. He had earned millions of top-grade spirit stones in one go, which made him feel very good. As for the other side of the courtyard, after the 2 explosions, it was already a complete mess. Zhao Xingyue, the little witch, and the others heard the noise and immediately rushed over. But when they arrived, they saw broken walls everywhere. Occasionally, they could see some pieces of flesh and blood that had been blown up. The yard, which was originally very good, was now completely turned into a big pit. Seeing this scene, the hearts of all the women suddenly jumped, and they began to frantically search for traces of Qin Haodong. Although they knew that Qin Haodong had already obtained the 7th Order Pagoda, they did not know that the pagoda had such an abnormal function, so they were very worried. "Little brother, where are you? Senior brother, where are you? Come out quickly, don't scare us. Brother Qin, are you okay?" Just as everyone was frantically searching, Xiahou Hongxiang rushed in from outside with his people. Seeing the anxious expressions of these women, he was ecstatic. It seemed that Qin Qian was completely finished. However, he still had to put on a show. He came in front of Princess Xingyue, put on a look of concern and said, "Your Highness, are you okay? What happened here?" After searching for a long time, there was no news of Qin Haodong. A wave of anger rose from the bottom of Zhao Xingyue's heart. She looked at Xiahou Hongxiang and said angrily, "What happened? I should be asking you." As the general of Pegasus City, didn't you say that you would protect me? Why did something like this suddenly happen? Xiahou Hongxiang said. Your Highness, I don't know what's going on either. Pegasus City has always been heavily guarded, and this has never happened before. Zhao Xingyue said coldly. Heavily guarded? Then let me ask you, it has been half an hour since this happened. Why did your people only come now? The more annoyed Zhao Xingyue was, the happier Xiahou Hongxiang was. He put on a fearful expression and said, Please forgive me, Your Highness. I'm old, and I slept too deeply just now. That's why I'm late. As a princess who grew up in the palace, Zhao Xingyue was very clear about these intrigues. She knew that Xiahou Hongxiang must have deliberately come late. Otherwise, such a loud explosion would have awakened even the dead. Just as she was about to attack again, the other girls ran back with sad faces. The little she-devil choked and said, Sister Xingyue, we still can't find little brother. He might have been killed. Chapter 932. Two streams of tears flowed down Zhao Xingyue's face when she heard this. Could it be that this man has really left me? At the same time, the other girls were also sobbing. The little witch said, No matter who killed little brother, as long as I catch him, I will cut him into pieces and feed him to the magical beasts. Zhao Xingyue glanced at Xiahou Hongxiang fiercely and said in a cold voice, I, Zhao Xingyue, swear to God that if I don't avenge Brother Qin in this life, I am not a human. Since Qin Haodong was killed here, the Lord of Pegasus naturally became the first suspect. Princess, don't worry. I will definitely send someone to investigate this matter. Xiahou Hongxiang lowered his head, afraid that he would laugh out loud. Although he said so, he was very happy in his heart. He had finally killed Qin Haodong and avenged his brother and nephew. But at this moment a clear voice said, What's wrong? I just went to the toilet. Why is everyone crying? Who are you avenging? Zhao Xingyue turned her head and saw Qin Haodong standing next to her with a smile. Brother Qin, you're not dead? Zhao Xingyue said. What nonsense are you talking about, girl? I'm alive and well. Why are you cursing me? The little she-devil threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms and pinched his cheek again. She turned around and shouted to the others, It's real, not a ghost. Little brother is really alive. You little girl, don't worry. I won't die even if anyone dies. Seeing the tears on the girls' faces, Qin Haodong was very touched. Although he had not known them for a long time, their feelings for him were extremely sincere. Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin stood next to him in shock. They had thought that Qin Haodong would definitely die this time. They did not expect him to stand in front of them, alive and well. The Ghost King sect had sent out so many experts. Even the original courtyard was blasted into a big pit. It still did not die. Could it be that this was really an unkillable cockroach? Qin Haodong glanced at Xiahou Hongxiang and said jokingly, General Xiahou, why don't you look happy that I'm back? Are you a little disappointed? Xiahou Hongxiang had been the city lord for so many years that he had developed a cunning character. He immediately said with a smile, Mr. Qin, you must be joking. I was too excited to see you come back safely, so I didn't come back to my senses for a while. Jiang Bin also stepped forward to help smooth things over and said, Mr. Qin, what's going on? What happened here? Qin Haodong said, I don't know. I ate something bad tonight. Maybe I'm not used to it, so I went out to stay in the latrine for a while. Who knew there would be explosions here one after another? I just went to the toilet and my house is gone. Who knows what happened? Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin were livid. They knew that Qin Haodong was talking nonsense, but they couldn't do anything about it because they didn't know the truth. At this time, an officer came over with the mask fragments he picked up and said, General Xiahou, we have checked all the scenes and found the mask fragments of the Ghost King sect. It's very likely that someone from the Ghost King sect has been here. Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin were the only two people who knew that the Ghost King sect had conspired with them, so the officer naturally had no scruples. Zhao Xingyue looked at Xiahou Hongxiang coldly and said, General Xiahou, Pegasus City is heavily guarded. How did the Ghost King sect sneak in? How did they raise this place to the ground? Xiahou Hongxiang said with slight embarrassment, Your Highness, please calm down. The people of the Ghost King sect have always been secretive. I will investigate this matter immediately. No matter who colluded with the Ghost King sect, they will be severely punished. Zhao Xingyue said coldly. Then why don't you hurry up? Don't worry, Princess. I will investigate now. After Xiahou Hongxiang finished speaking, he took Jiang Bin and left the courtyard dejectedly. After they left, Zhao Xingyue said to Qin Haodong, Brother Qin, what happened just now? We were all scared to death. Xiahou Hongxiang colluded with the Ghost King sect. They wanted to make a move against me. Qin Haodong told him about the attack of the Ghost King sect. But however, he said that the explosion was a magic weapon with a self-destructing function. After listening to him, the little witch immediately scolded. This damn old man is too evil. Zhao Xingyue said with a gloomy expression. As a subject of the Black Tortoise Kingdom, he dared to collude with the Ghost King sect. I will definitely report this matter to father and help Brother Qin. Tu Jiaojiao said. I think that Xiahou Hongxiang has already started to make a move against us. He didn't succeed this time, but I'm afraid he has other plans. We must be careful. Zhao Xingyue nodded and said, You're right. When father sends people over, we will immediately leave Pegasus City. The little witch said, Little brother, this place is no longer suitable for people to live in. Come back with us. Qin Haodong nodded and followed Zhao Xingyue and the others back to the courtyard. Xiahou Hongxiang led the people out of the gate. Jiang Bin said with a face full of unwillingness. The people of the Ghost King sect are really incompetent. They made such a big move. Many people died, but that boy surnamed Qin is still alive. Xiahou Hongxiang said with a gloomy expression. It seems that we underestimated Qin Haodong. This boy is 100 times more cunning than we thought. Jiang Bin said. General, what should we do next? Xiahou Hongxiang said. Don't worry, wait until they leave Pegasus City. No matter how cunning they are, it's useless in the face of absolute strength. At this moment, a figure quickly flew over. It was one of the guards of the treasury. General, something bad has happened. Jiang Bin knew this person and scolded. It's the middle of the night. How can you make such a big fuss? The guard was stunned when he saw Jiang Bin. He said, General Jiang Bin, weren't you in the treasury? When did you come out? Jiang Bin said, T. I've been with General Xiahou all the time. When did I go to the treasury? The guard was a little confused and didn't know what to say for a moment. The treasury was Xiahou Hongxiang's life. All the family's wealth was stored there. Now that the guard of the treasury suddenly ran over, he had a bad feeling in his heart. He immediately asked eagerly, Tell me what's going on. The guard said, It's like this, General Xiahou. He told the whole story of how Jiang Bin went to the treasury to patrol after the explosion in the city. Finally, he said, General Jiang Bin went into the treasury and never came out. When the steward came out, he said he wanted to go to the toilet. In the end, we still haven't seen him. We've already sent people to check, but there's no sign of the steward in the toilet. It turned out that the guards of the treasury waited for a long time and did not see the steward come back. They sent people to check, but there was no one in the toilet. They realized that something was wrong and quickly sent someone to report to Xiahou Hongxiang. General, I have always been by your side, but I have never been to the treasury. The treasury was very important in Pegasus City. Even if he was Xiahou Hongxiang's close confidant, he could not bear this responsibility. Xiahou Hongxiang immediately realized that someone had impersonated Jiang Bin and went to the treasury. All his family's wealth over the years was in the treasury. He immediately shouted, Let's go check immediately. He hurried to the treasury with his people. When he entered, he saw the treasury steward lying on the ground in his underwear. All the spirit stones in the treasury had disappeared. Not even a single one was left. Bastard! Xiahou Hongxiang was furious. All the family's wealth that he had accumulated over the years was gone. This made his heart bleed. At this time, Jiang Bin had already woken up the steward. However, the guy had just opened his eyes and had a confused expression. He did not understand what had happened. When he saw Xiahou Hongxiang, he asked in surprise, General, why are you here? Xiahou Hongxiang slapped him in the face and scolded. Bastard, where are my spirit stones? General Jiang has already looked. The spirit stones are undamaged. They are all here. The steward looked back and was surprised to find that the treasury was empty. There was not even a top-quality spirit stone. This. The steward was dumbfounded. He immediately knelt on the ground. General Xiahou, I really don't know what happened. The spirit stones were just here. And then I suddenly fainted. At this point, he turned to Jiang Bin and said, Right, General Jiang has been here with me. There were only the two of us in the treasury. He must know. At this point, he did not care whether Jiang Bin was Xiahou Hongxiang's relative or not. He could not afford to lose so many spirit stones. But at this point, how could Xiahou Hongxiang not understand what had happened? Someone must have impersonated Jiang Bin and deceived the steward. They must have stolen all the spirit stones in the treasury. Bastard, go to hell! Xiahou Hongxiang, who was extremely angry, kicked the steward in the chest and directly sent him flying. The steward hit the wall of the treasury hard. A large part of the steward's chest collapsed. It seemed that he would not survive. After killing the steward, he was still angry. Who stole my spirit stones? If I catch him, I will cut him into pieces. General, please calm down. It's not the time to be angry. Jiang Bin stepped forward and said, What we need to do now is to find the spirit stones as soon as possible. Xiahou Hongxiang said, Tell me who stole my spirit stones. Jiang Bin thought for a moment and said, General, don't worry. Let's analyze it calmly. According to the guards just now, someone pretended to be me and came here after the explosion. At that time, Qin Haodong was not here. Xiahou Hongxiang said, You mean that Qin Haodong stole the spirit stones here? Jiang Bin said, He must have done it. General, even if the people of the Ghost King sect failed to kill him, he should have stayed at the scene instead of disappearing. And when that guy was not here, the spirit stones in our treasury were stolen. There is no doubt that he did it. In any case, this matter had something to do with him. After all, that person was pretending to be him, so he tried his best to clear his name as soon as possible. You're right. It must be that guy's doing. Let's go and settle the score with him now. After saying that, Xiahou Hongxiang angrily returned to the courtyard with a group of his men. Zhao Xingyue and the others were sitting in the living room and chatting. Seeing Xiahou Hongxiang return, she frowned and asked, General Xiahou, you're back so soon. Did you catch the thief? Although Xiahou Hongxiang was angry, he still restrained himself in front of Zhao Xingyue. He said, Your Highness, someone just pretended to be General Jiang Bin and entered the treasury of Pegasus City. He has taken all the spirit stones in the treasury. I'm here to catch the thief. Zhao Xingyue's face suddenly darkened. She shouted coldly, Xiahou Hongxiang, how dare you? Do you suspect that I stole the spirit stones? Chapter 933. Xiahou Hongxiang said, I wouldn't dare. Your Highness is the princess of the kingdom. All the treasures of the kingdom belong to the royal family of Xuanwu. How could he steal the spirit stones from the vault? Zhao Xingyue said, Then why did you bring him here? Xiahou Hongxiang said, Mr. Qin was not there when the vault was stolen just now. I think he is very suspicious, so I want to ask Mr. Qin for confirmation. The little witch cried, Nonsense, the little brother has been with us all the time. How could he steal your spirit stones? Zhao Xingyue also said with a sullen face, General Xiahou, Mr. Qin is my friend. It is impossible for him to steal your spirit stones. Xiahou Hongxiang could give in to other things, but now it was about the millions of spirit stones in the vault, so he naturally would not give in. He said, Your Highness, when the vault was stolen, Mr. Qin was missing, so I think we should search it and help your friend clear the suspicion. After hearing this, Zhao Xingyue also thought that Qin Haodong was not there at that time. Did he really steal the vault of Pegasus City? But the more it was like this, the more determined she was to protect Qin Haodong. Not to mention the vault of Pegasus City, she would stand by Qin Haodong even if the vault of the entire Xuanwu kingdom was robbed. General Xiahou, it is your dereliction of duty that the vault was stolen. You should catch the thief as soon as possible, instead of coming here to slander my friend. As long as I am here today, no one is allowed to touch Brother Qin. Then she stood up and stood in front of Qin Haodong. Yes, no one is allowed to slander brother Qin. Seeing your brother must have been wronged. The other girls also gathered and protected Qin Haodong in the middle. They stared at Xiahou Hongxiang fiercely, as if they were ready to attack if there was any disagreement. Their thoughts were the same as Zhao Xingyue's. They all thought that Qin Haodong might have stolen the vault. But the more it was like this, the more they wanted to protect him. Seeing the girls' reaction, Xiahou Hongxiang was even more certain of his guess, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. Your Highness, if you insist on protecting him, then don't blame me for offending you. Zhao Xingyue shouted sternly, how dare you? Do you want to attack this queen? This subordinate does not dare to disrespect the princess, but this concerns the wealth of the kingdom. This subordinate must fulfill his duty, or else I will not be able to answer to His Majesty the King. Xiahou Hongxiang spoke righteously, and put on a posture of loyalty to the kingdom. He then waved his hand at Jiang Bin behind him. Search this place. Understood. Jiang Bin agreed, and immediately commanded his men to surround Zhao Xingyue and the others. Tu Jiaojiao, Morong Jinghong, and the others also unsheathed their swords. A great battle was about to break out. Everyone calmed down. Qin Haodong stepped forward and walked to Zhao Xingyue's side. Your Highness, a clear conscience is not afraid of a crooked shadow. Since General Xiahou wants to search, let him search. This, Zhao Xingyue hesitated and said, but I will never allow anyone to slander my friend. As she spoke, she looked at Qin Haodong in confusion, her eyes full of inquiry. That meant that if Qin Haodong really stole from the vault, he couldn't let him search it no matter what. Your Highness, don't worry. Whatever is missing from the vault has nothing to do with me. Qin Haodong said as he looked at Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin. You two actually suspect that I stole from the vault. You can search it if you want, but you can't doubt my innocence for no reason. Xiahou Hongxiang said. What do you want? Qin Haodong said indifferently. If I don't let you two search it, you must suspect that I stole from the vault. If I let you search it like this, I will be a little unwilling. How about we make a bet? Xiahou Hongxiang said. What do you want to bet, Mr. Qin? Qin Haodong said. If you two find the spirit stones you are looking for on me, I will immediately surrender and my life will be yours. You can kill me or cut me up. If you can't find it, you can take out 20,000 top-grade spirit stones as compensation for my reputation. What does General Xiahou think? This, seeing Qin Haodong's confident look, Xiahou Hongxiang was also a little hesitant. Could it be that the spirit stones in the vault were really not stolen by this guy? Jiang Bin stepped forward and whispered, General Xiahou, this guy is bluffing. It's obvious that he is bluffing. The spirit stones in the vault are 100% stolen by him. Xiahou Hongxiang gritted his teeth. He really didn't want to have a head-on conflict with Zhao Xingyue, unless it was absolutely necessary. Finally, he said, Since Mr. Qin wants to bet, then I'll bet with you. Qin Haodong said, Well, General Xiahou, please take out 20,000 top-grade spirit stones and put them with the princess first. Please be our witness. Okay. After saying that, Xiahou Hongxiang took out 20,000 top-grade spirit stones from his storage ring and gave them to Zhao Xingyue. Your Highness, this is a fair agreement between Mr. Qin and me. If we really find something later, please don't embarrass me. Zhao Xingyue glanced at Qin Haodong and saw him nodding to her, so she said, Well, I'll be fair to you. Xiahou Hongxiang turned to look at Qin Haodong and said, Mr. Qin, it's your turn. There were millions of top-grade spirit stones in the vault, like a small mountain. He naturally didn't think that Qin Haodong would take them with him, so they must be in the storage ring. Qin Haodong smiled slightly, took off the storage ring from his hand, raised his hand, and threw it to him. When he had finished looting the treasury, he had already predicted that this would happen. Not only had he placed all the spirit stones into the 7th-tier pagoda, but he had also transferred all the items in his storage ring into the pagoda. At this time, there was nothing in his storage ring except for a few hundred top-grade spirit stones. Xiahou Hongxiang took the storage ring, glanced at Qin Haodong first, and then scanned the ring with his divine sense. When he saw the result, his expression suddenly changed. There was nothing in it. Could it be that Qin Haodong really didn't steal it? Seeing Xiahou Hongxiang's expression, Jiang Bin already knew the result, and his expression also became extremely ugly. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "General Xiahou, if you still don't believe me, you can search my body." As he spoke, he shook his sleeves and patted his pockets. Jiang Bin said, "You must have stolen the vault. You must have hidden the things." Qin Haodong looked at him and said, "General Jiang, what you said is not very appropriate. You said that I stole it without any evidence. I also said that you stole it." "You?" Jiang Bin's face turned red with anger, and he was about to fight. Zhao Xingyue shouted sternly, "Jiang Bin, what are you doing? We just agreed on a bet. Do you think that I, the notary, is just a decoration here?" Originally, she was on Qin Haodong's side, and now she was even more confident. Xiahou Hongxiang stopped Jiang Bin, stepped forward and said, "I'm sorry, Your Highness. We misunderstood just now, and now we apologize to Mr. Qin." He returned the storage ring to Qin Haodong and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. I've disturbed you. I admit that I lost the bet, and the 20,000 top-grade spirit stones are yours." After that, he bowed to Zhao Xingyue again, and then left the courtyard with his people. After returning to the general's mansion, Jiang Bin said, "General Xiahou, are we just going to let it go? In my opinion, the vault was stolen by that guy, but he hid the spirit stones. Maybe they are in Zhao Xingyue's ring." Xiahou Hongxiang said with a gloomy expression, "That guy is indeed suspicious, but have you ever thought that this may also be done by the people of the Ghost King sect?" Jiang Bin's expression froze. The Ghost King sect was powerful, and if they wanted to do it, they did have the ability to do so. He said, "General Xiahou, what should we do now? Are we going to let that guy go?" Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Of course we won't let him go so easily. According to my estimation, someone from King City should come to pick up Zhao Xingyue tomorrow. As soon as they leave the range of Pegasus City, we will immediately take action. Not only will we kill Qin Haodong, but we will also take all their storage rings. At that time, whether they stole our spirit stones or their spirit stones, they will all be ours." Jiang Bin immediately gave a thumbs up and said with a flattering face, "General Xiahou is really talented and bold. I admire you very much." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Immediately arrange for people to seal the city. Everyone can only enter but not leave. We can't let Qin Haodong escape. At the same time, strictly investigate the people of the Ghost King sect. If they really did it, we must take back our spirit stones no matter what." Jiang Bin nodded and said, "Yes, General. I will arrange it now." In the yard, after Xiahou Hongxiang left, everyone gathered together to discuss for a while, and then they all went back to their rooms to rest. There were many rooms in the yard, so Qin Haodong went back to the room he had arranged for him. First, he found a skeleton warrior from the army of white bones, put his clothes on it, and let it lie on the bed to sleep. Then, he entered the 7th pagoda alone. All the materials he had brought from Earth were placed on the 6th floor, and the looted top-grade spirit stones were placed on the 7th floor, which made the spiritual qi here more and more intense. Now, Xiahou Hongxiang and the others were eyeing him covetously, and the people of the Ghost King sect could appear at any time. His top priority was to improve his cultivation. He sat cross-legged in the middle of the pagoda, and began to run his qi to break through to the peak of Void Training Realm. According to his current cultivation method, it was indeed dozens or even hundreds of times faster than ordinary people. Once he succeeded, his power would be unparalleled, and he would be invincible among his peers. However, the consumption of spirit stones was also extremely huge. When he opened his eyes again, the genuine qi in his body was surging, and he had reached the peak of Void Training Realm. But when he looked around, there were only a few thousand top-grade spirit stones left from the original millions of them. Qin Haodong felt a headache. He had just reached the peak of Void Training Realm, and he had used so many top-grade spirit stones. What about the form synthesis realm? It seemed that he could only pin his hopes on the spirit spring in Xuanwu Kingdom. After finishing his cultivation, he returned to his room. The next morning after breakfast, the little she-devil said. It's so boring here. We're in Pegasus City, but we can't go anywhere. What's the difference between us and criminals? Zhao Xingyue said. There's nothing we can do. Xiahou Hongxiang is afraid that we'll run away. This place is heavily guarded, and we can't get out even if we want to. The other girls also had a look of regret on their faces. Obviously, no one wanted to stay here motionlessly. Qin Haodong said, If you want to get out, I have a way. The little she-devil cried excitedly. What good idea do you have, little brother? Tell us quickly. Qin Haodong smiled slightly. They won't let us out, but we can sneak out. Chapter 934. Morong Jinghong said, Haodong, the security here is tight. It's impossible for us to sneak out with so many people, right? Don't worry, I have this. Qin Haodong took out 7 invisibility talismans from his pocket and gave one to everyone. He then told everyone how to use it. No one would be able to detect him as long as he didn't use his true qi. Unless he met a super expert, no one would be able to detect him. Afterward, he took out 7 skeleton warriors from the White Bone Corps and had them put on the clothes of everyone else. They sat in a cross-legged posture in the room. When everything was ready, he let everyone out of the gate. Sure enough, even after they left the courtyard, the soldiers guarding the gate still didn't notice them. Little brother, you're amazing, the little witch said excitedly. Tu Jiaojiao said, I grew up in Pegasus City, so I can be your guide. The little witch asked, Sister Tu, do you have any delicious food here? Of course, Pegasus City is the second largest city in the Black Tortoise Kingdom. There's a lot of delicious food here. Tu Jiaojiao finished speaking and led everyone to a street full of snacks. This was indeed the second largest city in the Black Tortoise Kingdom. The streets were bustling with people. The little witch took the money from Qin Haodong and began to taste the snacks on the street. But soon, the interest on her face disappeared. Not good at all. Little brother's food is still the best. Although there were many kinds of snacks here, they couldn't compare to the Chinese food Qin Haodong brought. Little brother, I want to eat candied haws. The little witch called out to Qin Haodong. Here you go. Qin Haodong was speechless. Fortunately, he had brought enough food, or else the little glutton would have eaten them all. He took out 6 candied haws from his storage ring and gave one to each girl. They walked around like this, and after half a day, they had walked around more than half of Pegasus City. It was also Qin Haodong's first time in a city in the Lingwu continent. He was very excited at first, but he gradually lost interest. Other than the development of martial arts, this place couldn't be compared to Earth in other aspects. Whether it was food or entertainment, they were all on a different level. Just when he was feeling bored, he suddenly heard a melodious song. It was a girl with a sweet voice singing an unknown folk song. This is not bad. Qin Haodong looked up and found that the voice came from a tea house. He said to everyone, Let's go to the tea house and have a look. Sure, I happen to be thirsty. The little she-devil agreed and was the first to run into the tea house. The others followed behind her. This tea house was very large, with richly ornamented beams and painted rafters. It could be considered one of the most luxurious tea houses in Pegasus City. In the middle of the tea house stood a tall girl with a big braid. The sweet voice just now was sung by her. Sitting next to her was a skinny old man in his 60s or 70s who was playing a zither. After they went upstairs, a waiter immediately ran over and asked them to sit at a table next to him. Qin Haodong ordered a pot of tea, and then they sat there drinking tea and listening to the play. The song that the girl with the big braids sang was completely different from the one on Earth, but it sounded different. Moreover, this girl not only sang well, but she was also very beautiful. She had a sexy and tall figure, and her exquisite face made people unable to pick out the slightest flaw. However, it seemed that her family was very poor. The clothes she wore were very shabby, and there was no decoration on her head or face. But the more she was like this, the more people could feel her natural beauty. After the song was finished, the guests in the tea house all cheered. However, when the skinny old man took the tray and asked for a reward, they all turned their faces away and did not respond. The old man's face was full of disappointment. Just as he was about to go back, He suddenly heard a ding sound. A top-grade spirit stone fell on the tray in his hand. The old man was taken aback. It was already good enough for the guests present to tip some middle-grade spirit stones. He had never seen such a generous guest like Yi Shiwen, who could tip a best-grade spirit stone. In Pegasus City, a top-grade spirit stone was enough for him and his daughter to eat for a year. He turned his head and saw a handsome young man slightly gesturing to him. "Sir, did you give the wrong thing?" The old man asked with a look of disbelief. Qin Haodong said, "Yes, this is a reward for you." He could see that the father and daughter were not living a good life, and 1 or 2 top-grade spirit stones were of no use to him. It was better to help these poor people. After getting a positive answer, the old man said gratefully, "Sir, thank you. Thank you so much." The little witch came to Qin Haodong's side and said with a smile, "Little brother, do you like the girl because she is beautiful?" At this time, the people next to them were also shocked by Qin Haodong's generosity. When they came back to their senses, they began to talk. "I was wondering why this kid was so generous. It turns out that he likes little Bai Ling. If little Bai Ling is willing to sleep with me, I can even give her 2 top-grade spirit stones. This kid already has so many beauties around him, but he still wants little Bai Ling." Hearing the discussion, the old man's excitement immediately disappeared. He said nervously, "Sir, you misunderstood. I only sell my skills, not my body." Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "Dad, ignore her. She is joking with you. This is a reward for you. There is no other meaning. Just sing another song for me." The old man asked in a trembling voice, "Sir, are you sure you are not joking with us?" Qin Haodong smiled helplessly. He raised his hand and threw out another top-grade spirit stone. "This is also yours. Do you believe me this time?" "Yes, I believe you. Thank you, sir." The old man was ecstatic. He turned around and shouted to the stunned girl, "Bai Ling, what are you waiting for? Quickly sing another song for young master." The girl named Little Bai Ling came over and bowed to Qin Haodong. Then she asked shyly, "Sir, what song do you like to listen to?" It was the first time that Qin Haodong had heard this kind of song, so he did not know how to sing it. He said, "Anything, just sing what you are good at." "Yes, sir." Little Bai Ling bowed again. Then she returned to her position and sang softly. But after a few lines, there was a messy sound of footsteps on the stairs. Then a man shouted in a hoarse voice, "Little Bai Ling, no wonder I couldn't find you. You came here." Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a young man in gorgeous clothes walking in from the stairs. He was followed by more than a dozen bodyguards. The man looked to be about 30 years old. He walked with his chin up, and his face was full of arrogance. After seeing this person appear, the other guests who were cheering immediately shut their mouths, and their faces revealed nervous expressions. When the old man and Little Bai Ling saw the young man, they were even more frightened. They did not know what to do for a while. The young man stepped in front of Little Bai Ling and said frivolously, "Little girl, I have already said that you will be the 36th concubine in my house. Why are you here to sing?" The old man hurried forward and said, "Young Master Xiaoho, my daughter grew up in the mountains and has never seen the world. She can't serve you. Please let us go." "Old man, get out of here. I have given you face, but you don't want it." The young man lifted his leg and kicked the old man's lower abdomen. The old man flew more than a dozen meters away and knocked over countless tables and chairs. "Father!" Little Bai Ling hurried over and helped the old man up from the ground. She glared at the young man and shouted, "Why did you hit him?" The young man said nonchalantly, "I'm Xiahou Chun. My father is the city lord of Pegasus City, and I'm the young city lord. Even if I killed him, no one would dare to say anything, much less kick him." Qin Haodong frowned. This guy had reached the early stage of the form synthesis realm, and the bodyguards behind him were all experts at the peak of the void training realm. No wonder he was so arrogant. It turned out that he was Xiahou Hongxiang's son. However, the people from the Xiahou family were too arrogant. They had killed Xiahou Hongfei and Xiahou Zhen, and now Xiahou Chun had jumped out. Xiahou Chun looked at Little Bai Ling proudly and said, "How good would it be to be a good girl and enjoy life with me? Why do you have to earn money outside?" Little Lark spat on the ground and said, "Stop dreaming." I would rather die than be your concubine. Ha 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 ha. Xiahou Chun laughed arrogantly. In this heavenly horse city, whoever I want to live will live, and whoever I want to die will die. Even if you want to die, you'll have to satisfy me first before you die. After saying that, he waved his hand at the bodyguards behind him and said, Kill the old one, and take the young one back to the mansion. I will share it with you after I enjoy it. The bodyguards agreed, and immediately rushed toward the father and daughter. Seeing that Xiahou Chun was going to take the young one away, no one in the tea house dared to make a sound. They all ran away in the blink of an eye, afraid that they would be involved. Before Qin Haodong could make a move, the little she-devil, who had a strong sense of justice, rushed over and stood in front of the father and daughter. Stop all of you. I want to see who dares to do this. She glared at Xiahou Chun and shouted, robbing a girl on the street and disregarding human life. Do you have any respect for the law? Seeing that someone dared to meddle in his business, Xiahou Chun was stunned at first. Then, when he saw the beautiful little she-devil, his eyes suddenly lit up. The law? In Pegasus City, I am the law. He shouted to the bodyguards, tie this girl up and take her back. Xiahou Chun, how dare you? Zhao Xingyue could not stand it anymore. Everyone walked to the little she-devil and protected the father and daughter behind them. Xiahou Chun was stunned. He had never dreamed that there would be so many beautiful women in front of him. He could not help but drool. After he came to his senses, he shouted, I'm lucky. It seems that I'm lucky today. He shouted to the bodyguards, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and take them back to the mansion. I want to be the groom today. Zhao Xingyue shouted, Xiahou Chun, are you going to rebel? I am the princess of the Black Tortoise Kingdom. Girl, if you are the princess, then I am the son-in-law. Xiahou Chun laughed wildly and reached out to grab her chest. Your Highness, let the son-in-law have a good time. Although he was a playboy, his cultivation was not for show. His cultivation at the early stage of the form synthesis realm completely suppressed Zhao Xingyue, who was at the late stage of the void training realm. Just when Xiahou Chun thought that he was going to win, a huge foot suddenly appeared in front of him and collided with his palm. Chapter 935. Qin Haodong was standing right next to Xiahou Chun. He couldn't let Zhao Xingyue suffer, so he summoned the three-legged golden toad the moment Xiahou Chun made his move. The three-legged golden toad was one of the strongest 7th-ranked magical beasts. Whether it was attack or defense, it was much stronger than Xiahou Chun. When Xiahou Chun's palm collided with the three-legged golden toad's foot, he heard a kacha-kacha sound of bones breaking, followed by a piercing pain in his mind. His entire arm was crushed by the three-legged golden toad. It could be said to be completely crippled. Ah! He let out a heart-wrenching scream. His entire body was sent flying into the air. He crashed into the wall of the tea house and fell on the street outside. Young master, how are you? The bodyguards who were staring at Xiahou Chun were shocked. They immediately rushed out of the tea house to check on their master's condition. Xiahou Chun had never suffered such a loss in his entire life. At this moment, his entire right arm was smashed into pieces. It was completely crippled. He gritted his teeth and crawled up from the ground. He pointed at the tea house and yelled, What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up and tear them apart for me. The bodyguards didn't dare to disobey their master's anger. They jumped back into the tea house. At this time, Qin Haodong came out with his men. He knew that this rich second generation was Xiahou Hongxiang's son, so he didn't order the three-legged golden toad to kill him. After all, this was Pegasus City. It wouldn't be good to completely turn the situation sour. Kill that son of a bitch. Hurry up and kill him. Xiahou Chun pointed at Qin Haodong and yelled. The bodyguards swarmed up and attacked Qin Haodong and the others. However, with the three-legged golden toad, these people couldn't take advantage of it. They were easily sent flying. Seeing that his men weren't a match for them, Xiahou Chun took out a whistling arrow and shot it into the air. After a crisp sound, a red firework exploded in the air. Finally, it turned into 2 words, help. This whistling arrow was specially made by Xiahou Hongxiang for his son. He would only use it when his son's life was in danger. However, he was the young city lord of Pegasus City, so no one dared to provoke him. On top of that, he was at the early body integration stage, so he had never had to use this life-saving whistling arrow before. At this time, the little she-devil had already completed her summoning technique. 6 Cerberus walked out from the living spirit gate. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. When did this girl's summoning skill become so reliable? She summoned the 3-headed hellhound 3 times in a row. The little she-devil said excitedly, "Little brother, I'm going to teach this bad guy a lesson today. Let's see if he dares to go out and bully people in the future." Qin Haodong said, "Be careful, don't kill anyone." "Got it." Little she-devil replied. Next, she directed the 6th Cerberus to charge at Xiahou Chun while shouting excitedly, "Bite him hard." This girl had always had the dream of serving justice. Today, she had finally come across such an opportunity, so naturally, she would not let it go easily. Normally Xiahou Chun, who had already reached the form synthesis stage, would not care about these Cerberi at all. But at this moment, he had lost an arm and most of his cultivation. Facing these fierce Cerberi, he immediately shouted to his men, "Hurry up and stop these beasts for me." Unfortunately, at this moment, the bodyguards around him had been beaten by the 3-legged golden toad. Their bones and tendons were broken. Only 2 or 3 people were still loyal to him. However, these people were only at the late stage of the void training stage. They could not stop the 6 ferocious Cerberus at all. In the blink of an eye, they were scattered. Under the command of the little she-devil, a Cerberus opened its 3 bloody mouths and bit at Xiahou Chun's left arm. "Damn beast, get out of here." Xiahou Chun only had 1 intact arm left. He tried his best to slap the Cerberus. After all, he had the cultivation of the form synthesis stage. This slap directly sent the Cerberus flying. At that moment, he felt a heart-wrenching pain coming from below. Another 3-headed hellhound had bitten his thighs. In a flash, it swallowed a mass of dark red flesh. Ah! Xiahou Chun let out a heart-wrenching scream again. He covered his lower body with his left hand and kept rolling on the ground. Qin Haodong's eyes suddenly widened. He had told the little she-devil not to kill him, but this time he was killed. "Genzi, what's going on?" At this moment, thousands of figures galloped from the direction of the city lord like a large dark cloud, covering the sky and the sun. They were led by Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin, followed by 3,000 heavily armed soldiers. Seeing the army coming, the people who had been hiding far away to watch the fun also hid and closed their doors. There was not a single person in the whole long street. "Who dares to touch my son?" After a loud roar, Xiahou Hongxiang descended from the sky and landed next to Xiahou Chun. He raised his sword and killed 3 Cerberus next to him. When he saw Xiahou Chun's miserable appearance, his eyes suddenly widened. One of his right arms had been completely destroyed, hanging beside his body like rotten meat. His lower body was dripping with blood, as if something was missing. Who did this? Xiahou Hongxiang let out a deafening roar. He only had this one son, and he had gotten him in his old age. Normally, he would not give him the moon if he wanted the stars. He doted on him to the extreme. Moreover, Xiahou Chun was extremely talented. He had crossed the threshold of the form synthesis stage at the age of 30. Originally, he had pinned the hope of the Xiahou family on his genius son, but now it was all over. He had lost a right arm, destroyed his cultivation, and lost the most important thing in his lower body. He could not even be a man anymore. How could he not be angry? He took 2 steps forward and helped Xiahou Chun up. "Son, how are you? Who did this?" "Dad, you're here." Xiahou Chun finally saw his family. He threw himself into Xiahou Hongxiang's arms and burst into tears. "Dad, you must avenge me." "Son, don't cry. Who did this? Tell Dad." Xiahou Hongxiang said with a murderous look. "It's that guy and those bitches," Xiahou Chun said as he pointed at Qin Haodong and the others. When Xiahou Hongxiang received the signal that his son was in danger, he immediately gathered his men and rushed over. Only then did he see Qin Haodong and Princess Xingyue standing beside him. "It's you guys?" He never thought that Princess Xingyue, who was supposed to stay in the courtyard, would come here and cripple his son. "That's right, it's us," Qin Haodong said. "Xiahou Hongxiang, Your son openly kidnapped a woman and her highness. What do you think he should be punished for? At this moment he looked indifferent, but his heart was already in his throat. After all, this was Pegasus City, Xiahou Hongxiang's territory. If it was just Xiahou Hongxiang and Jiang Bin, it would be easier to deal with. After all, he had the three-legged golden toad, which could sweep away all experts below the form synthesis stage. What was troublesome was the 3,000 soldiers eyeing him. The god-killing arrows in their hands gave him a lot of pressure. He didn't know what these arrows were made of, but even when facing a sniper rifle, he didn't feel this much pressure. Zhao Xingyue knew that it was time for her to stand up. She strode in front of everyone and shouted, "Xiahou Hongxiang, your son knows my identity and still wants to rob me. It seems that your Xiahou family really doesn't care about the Xuanwu royal family." Xiahou Hongxiang didn't admit his guilt immediately. He could tolerate the death of his brother and nephew, and the beating of his wife, Zhang Sunlan. But now that his son was completely crippled, he had reached the limit of his tolerance. Xiahou Chun cried miserably, "Father, you must avenge me." "Don't worry, father will help you." Xiahou Hongxiang gently put down Xiahou Chun and ordered people to send him back to the palace to treat his injuries. Then he stood up and walked step by step towards Princess Xingyue. At this moment, his face was ferocious, and his eyes were bloodshot, filled with a murderous light. With every step he took, the street paved with blue bricks was crushed. It was obvious that his anger had reached its limit. Qin Haodong sighed secretly. If only Xiahou Chun's arm was injured, there was still room for negotiation. At least Xiahou Hongxiang could wait until everyone left Pegasus City. Now that the little witch had destroyed that guy's treasure, it seemed that today's battle was inevitable. Although he could use the 7th Order Pagoda and hide in it with everyone at the critical moment, it was his last trump card. It was not worth it to take it out just like that. Xiahou Hongxiang's abnormal behavior made everyone feel great pressure, and the little witch knew that she had caused a big trouble. She wanted to summon powerful magical beasts to help her fight, but unfortunately, the living soul gate was closed and could not be used for 10 minutes. Princess Xingyue said nervously, "What are you going to do?" "Your Royal Highness, these people killed my elder brother and my nephew before, and I tolerated it all. Then they hurt my wife, and I tolerated it all. But today they hurt my son like this. No matter what, I must tear them into pieces." Princess Xingyue shouted, "Don't even think about it. So many things have happened. It only shows that the Xiahou family did not discipline their children well. You can't blame anyone else." Xiahou Hongxiang's eyes were bloodshot. "I don't care. I only know that they destroyed my son and ended the Xiahou family line." Princess Xingyue was quite nervous when she saw Xiahou Hongxiang like a wild beast. However, for the sake of her friends and her lover, she would not back down no matter what. She shielded everyone behind her and said firmly, "I've already said that it's your Xiahou family's fault. Today, no one can touch my friends unless they step over my dead body. Your Highness, don't force me." Xiahou Hongxiang had the urge to kill Princess Starmoon, as well as his son's miserable condition, and the anger that had accumulated in his heart for the past few days. However, his last trace of rationality still restrained him from doing so. At this time, Jiang Bin walked over and whispered into his ear, "General, last night, everyone in Pegasus City knows about the commotion that was caused last night. If you want to avenge the young master, you can kill everyone in front of you and blame it on the Ghost King sect." Xiahou Hongxiang thought it was a good idea. Although the Black Tortoise royal family would inevitably blame him, the consequences would not be too serious, as long as he gave Queen Wu Yuanyang some money. Thinking of this, he raised his right hand, and was about to give the order to kill the archers next to him. Suddenly, dozens of figures dashed over from the horizon. "Your Highness, please forgive Shengguan Qiong for his tardiness." With a loud shout that shook the mountains and rivers, a middle-aged general dressed in golden armor appeared before Princess Starmoon. Behind him were 20 imposing guards. Qin Haodong was delighted. Reinforcements had arrived, and their leader was an expert at the late stage of form synthesis. Chapter 936. After seeing Shengguan Qiong, Princess Xingyue's face lit up with joy. The ministers of the Black Tortoise Kingdom were divided into two factions: the faction loyal to the royal family and the faction loyal to the empress. Currently, the strength of the two factions was about the same. Shang Guanqiong, the deputy commander of the imperial guards, was a loyal follower of the Black Tortoise royal family. She was someone who could be trusted. She said, "Commander Shangguan, Xiahou Hongxiang wants to disrespect me. Quickly come and protect me." "Princess, don't panic. With me here, no one can harm you." As an important minister of the Black Tortoise Kingdom, Shang Guanqiong knew very well that Xiahou Hongxiang belonged to the Empress faction. She turned around and glared at him. "Xiahou Hongxiang, how dare you disrespect the princess? Are you trying to rebel?" As she spoke, the aura of a late-stage body integration expert erupted. Feeling the other party's powerful aura, Xiahou Hongxiang's heart trembled. The anger in his heart subsided, and he slowly regained his rationality. His brain spun rapidly as he tried to think of a way to deal with the situation. Although Shang Guanqiong's cultivation was a level higher than his, she was still unable to withstand his might. As long as he gave the order, 10,000 arrows would be released, and no one would be able to survive. However, if he did that, he could not bear the consequences. If he had only killed Princess Xingyue and the others, he could still push the blame to the Ghost King sect. However, if the deputy commander of the Imperial Guards was killed the moment he arrived at Pegasus City, he would not be able to explain himself to Zhao Xianlong. He was only a subordinate of the Empress Wu Yuanyang. He could survive by relying on Wu Yuanyang and Zhang Suncheng. If he was really labeled as a traitor, not only would he lose his current power, even the Xiahou family would be exterminated. Thinking of this, he suppressed the anger in his heart and said respectfully, "Deputy Commander Shangguan, this is a misunderstanding. This old man lost control of my emotions because of my son's injury. How would I dare disrespect Her Highness?" Shang Guanqiong snorted coldly. "I don't think you would dare. Her Highness is the king's daughter. Her body is priceless. She is not someone you can offend." "You're right, General Shangguan. I lost my composure just now. I apologize to Her Royal Highness now." Xiahou Hongxiang was also an old fox. He knew when to yield and when to stand tall. Now that he had suppressed the anger in his heart, he came in front of Zhao Xingyue and bowed respectfully. "Please forgive me, Your Highness." The little she-devil was relieved. She was about to say something sarcastic, but Qin Haodong stopped her. He was very clear about the situation in front of him. The only thing that could suppress Xiahou Hongxiang was not their strength, but the power of the royal family. If they really enraged this old fellow, things would be troublesome. Princess Xingyu snorted and said, "I will report what happened in Pegasus City to my father." Xiahou Hongxiang said respectfully, "This subordinate has indeed failed to receive the princess well. I will write a memorial to the king to ask for forgiveness." Shang Guanqiong shuddered slightly. In the past, when they were in the royal palace, everyone knew that Princess Xingyu was a timid person. When faced with such a situation, she would become a yes man. She would not be as powerful as she was now. It seemed that sneaking away this time had changed the princess greatly. Xiahou Hongxiang said again, "Your Highness, General Shangguan, please come to my Castellan mansion. I will hold a banquet to apologize to you." Princess Xingyu said, "I don't dare to eat at your banquet." This was the truth in her mind. The longer they stayed in Pegasus City, the more danger they would face. It was better to leave as soon as possible. She turned to Shang Guanqiong and said, "Let's go. My friends are also going to the royal city." "Yes, Your Highness," Shang Guanqiong answered, and ordered his guards to protect Princess Xingyu, Qin Haodong, and the others in the center. They flew together in the direction of Black Tortoise Imperial City. Your Highness, Shangguan Hongxiang, Jiang Bin, and his soldiers bowed together. It was not until Princess Xingyu and the others disappeared into the sky that he slowly stood up. An uncontrollable hatred flashed in his eyes. He dismissed the soldiers around him and said to Jiang Bin with gritted teeth, "Immediately select 3,000 soldiers. We will follow. As soon as Princess Xingyu leaves Pegasus City's territory, we will immediately take action." Whether it is Princess Xingyu or that Qin brat, we will kill them all. Leave no one alive. Yes, Your Highness. Jiang Bin was his loyal confidant. He would not hesitate to make a move against the Black Tortoise royal family. Xiahou Hongxiang then said, "This matter must be carefully planned. Do not let the cat out of the bag. The 3,000 soldiers must not only be strong, but also loyal. Do not let the news leak." "Your Highness," Jiang Bin answered and immediately went to gather his men. Xiahou Hongxiang looked in the direction that Qin Haodong and the others had left and shouted angrily, "Qin Haodong, Zhao Xingyue, just you wait. I swear I will kill you." Qin Haodong and the others sped all the way and finally left Pegasus City's territory in the evening. In front of them was a vast forest with no end in sight. This was Black Tortoise Kingdom's largest and most famous doomsday forest. Zhao Xingyue let out a long sigh and said softly, "We're finally out of Pegasus City. We're safe now." Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "You're wrong. As long as we don't leave Pegasus City's territory, Xiahou Hongxiang will not make a move against us. But it's different now. As long as we leave Pegasus City, General Shangguan will take responsibility for anything that happens to the princess. I'm guessing that Xiahou Hongxiang will make a move soon." Shangguan Xiong, who had been standing guard at the side, snorted disdainfully when she heard this. "Young man, you're wrong. You've underestimated the power of our Black Tortoise Kingdom. Xiahou Hongxiang is just a small city lord. Even if he had the guts, he wouldn't dare to make a move against the princess." After spending half a day together, Qin Haodong had gained some understanding of this deputy commander of the Imperial Guards. This guy was loyal to the royal family, but he was too straightforward and arrogant. He did not put anyone in his eyes at all. Xiahou Hongxiang had already prepared to make a move in Pegasus City, so he no longer feared the royal family. There was nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Now, all he had to do was wait for the right time and place. He said, "General Shangguan, I think we should be careful. Only by returning to Black Tortoise Kingdom's capital, as soon as possible, will we be completely safe." "Young man, you're too timid." Shangguan Qiong shook his head. "As long as I'm here, there's no need to worry about the princess's safety." Seeing that he was looking down on Qin Haodong, Zhao Xingyue frowned and said, "General Shangguan, Big Brother Qin is my friend. If it wasn't for him, I would have died a long time ago. I think Big Brother Qin is right. We should return to the capital as soon as possible." Although Shangguan Qiong was arrogant, he still had enough respect for Princess Xingyue. He said, "Your Highness, the Doomsday Mountain Range is just in front of us. There are many magical beasts here, so it's dangerous to pass through at night. Why don't we set up camp here and leave tomorrow?" This, Zhao Xingyue looked at Qin Haodong, wanting to ask for his opinion. Qin Haodong thought about it. Even someone as arrogant as Shangguan Qiong said that the Doomsday Forest was dangerous. It must be too risky to pass through at night. He said, "All right then. Let's rest here and leave tomorrow morning." He could only hope that Xiahou Hongxiang wouldn't make a move here. Shangguan Qiong chose a flat valley and ordered his guards to clean up the area and set up tents. The group of more than 20 people set up camp here. After everything was ready, everyone sat together and chatted while roasting the game they hunted. After chatting for a while, Qin Haodong asked, "General Shangguan, what's up with the god-killing arrow? It looks like an ordinary arrow, but why do I feel like it's very powerful?" He had this question the first time he saw the god-killing arrow, but he didn't have a suitable person to ask. The people around him were all students of the Black Tortoise Academy. They had never seen the god-killing arrow, and Xiahou Hongxiang and the others would never tell him. Shangguan Qiong said, "The god-killing arrow is a heavy weapon issued by the Black Tortoise Kingdom. It's a military secret, so I can't reveal it." Zhao Xingyue said unhappily, "General Shangguan, I've already told you. These are my good friends, especially Brother Qin. There's nothing to keep secret about." "All right then. Since Her Royal Highness has said so, I'll tell you what the god-killing arrow is." Shangguan Qiong said, "In terms of military force, the Black Tortoise Kingdom is the weakest among the 4 kingdoms on the Lingwu continent. The reason why it can stand firm is because of the god-killing arrow. The god-killing arrow is powerful because it's refined with the top spiritual treasure of the Black Tortoise Kingdom, the Black Evil Condensing Furnace. Every arrow has an extremely strong evil chi. Generally speaking, ordinary arrows can't break through a cultivator's defense, but the god-killing arrow with evil chi is different. It can easily break through the cultivator's genuine chi and directly attack the body. I see. No wonder it's so powerful, Qin Haodong exclaimed. Generally speaking, after one's cultivation reached the divine transformation realm, ordinary bullets couldn't break through the genuine chi. But the god-killing arrow had such power. Shengguan Qiong said, "Of course. Otherwise, why would it be called the god-killing arrow? It means the power to kill the gods. It's possible to dodge a single god-killing arrow, but even a cultivator at the great vehicle stage won't be able to win against hundreds or thousands of archers." The little witch said, "If it's so powerful, why didn't the Black Tortoise Kingdom unify the Lingwu continent?" Shengguan Qiong said, "It's not that simple. Every time the Black Evil Condensing Furnace is activated, it consumes a lot of top-grade spirit stones. So the god-killing arrow can't be produced on a large scale. It's good enough that we can protect ourselves. In the Black Tortoise Kingdom, only the top 5 cities have the god-killing arrow, and it's a limited supply." Qin Haodong nodded slightly. The most important thing about such a powerful weapon was its deterrent effect, which was somewhat similar to the nuclear weapons on Earth. If a full-scale war was launched, the Black Tortoise Kingdom might not be able to afford it. Suddenly, an idea popped up in his mind. The god-killing sword was just an ordinary bow. The only difference was that it was refined by the Black Evil Condensing Furnace and contained an extremely strong evil chi. He had a lot of modern weapons here. What would happen if he refined the bullets of the sniper rifle with the Black Evil Condensing Furnace? Would it be able to easily kill a cultivator at the form synthesis stage, or even the great vehicle stage? This idea made him very excited. After coming to the Lingwu continent, his cultivation was still a bit lacking. If he could refine the bullets of the Gatling gun and the sniper rifle he brought from Earth with the mysterious Evil Condensing Furnace, wouldn't he be able to kill gods and Buddhas? Chapter 937. Qin Haodong suppressed the ecstasy in his heart and said to Shengguan Qiong, "General Shengguan, where is the mysterious Evil Condensing Furnace? Can I have a look at it?" Shengguan Qiong waved his hand and said, "That's impossible. The mysterious Evil Condensing Furnace is the most important treasure of the Black Tortoise Kingdom. It's heavily guarded in the Divine Machine Camp. Outsiders can't see it at all." Qin Haodong understood this. This treasure was the foundation of the Black Tortoise Kingdom. It would not be easily seen by outsiders. It seemed that he could only wait until they reached the Black Tortoise Royal City and think of a way through other channels. After dinner, Shengguan Qiong arranged for his men to keep watch. Qin Haodong, Zhao Xingyue, and the others went into the tent to rest. It was late at night. Although this valley was on the edge of the Doomsday Forest, they could still hear the constant roars of magical beasts. When it was close to midnight, everyone slowly fell asleep. At this moment, countless black shadows appeared around the canyon, surrounding the entire valley. These people wore ghost masks and held all kinds of weapons in their hands. They looked like ghosts from hell in the night. One of the night guards saw this scene and was about to call the police when his neck was cut off by the leader of the black-clothed men. Qin Haodong had just fallen asleep when he suddenly felt a great sense of crisis. He jumped up and shouted, "Oh no, someone is coming!" Because the number of tents was limited, Zhao Xingyue and the other girls slept in one tent, while Shengguan Qiong and Qin Haodong slept in another. Shengguan Qiong had just fallen asleep and was woken up by Qin Haodong's shout. She said discontentedly, "What are you shouting for? How could there be enemies? If there were, my men would have called the police. Your men are useless against a master." Qin Haodong jumped out of the tent and rushed to Zhao Xingyue and the others. As soon as he went out, he saw countless men in black had surrounded their tent. "Everyone come out! There's an enemy attack!" he shouted, and then summoned the three-legged golden toad to attack the men in black. Shang Guanxiong did not take Qin Haodong's words seriously at first. He was lying on the bed sleepily. When he heard the fighting outside, he was shocked and rushed out with a big knife. After seeing the black-attired men outside, he loudly shouted, "Protect the princess, they are the Ghost King sect people." Hearing the shout, the guards in the other big tent rushed out. They originally had a total of 20 guards. After 2 of the night guards were killed, there were only 18 of them left. Under Shang Guanxiong's command, these guards protected Zhao Xingyue and the others in the center. Qin Haodong and the 3-legged golden toad had killed more than a dozen men in black and met up with Zhao Xingyue. Hearing Shang Guanxiong shout, he could not help but shake his head. This was not someone from the Ghost King sect. Even though the black-clothed man in front of him was wearing a ghostly mask and looked very similar to the Ghost King sect's ghostly slaves, he did not have any ghostly qi around him. Instead, he was filled with killing intent, and it was clear that he was a soldier from Tianma City. He was certain that these people were assassins sent by Xiahou Hongxiang. Shang Guanxiong pushed the big knife in his hand and fully unleashed his body integration stage cultivation. Coupled with the desperate resistance of the other guards, they quickly stabilized their position. At this moment, he could not help but feel a lingering fear. Fortunately, Qin Haodong had reacted in advance. Otherwise, if they had been attacked by these black-clothed men, at least half of his guards would have been killed, and Zhao Xingyue and the others would not have survived. The little she-devil looked excited and wanted to summon powerful magical beasts to help everyone fight. However, the result this time disappointed her. After the living spirit gate slowly opened, a little tortoise slowly crawled out from inside. Not only was this thing slow, but when it saw the situation, it immediately shrank its head and limbs into its shell. The little she-devil was so angry that she kicked it back into the life spirit gate. However, they could only use the summoning technique again in 10 minutes. The leader of the black-clothed men stood in the air, constantly commanding his subordinates to attack Qin Haodong and the others. Although he had brought the most people, and most of them were void refinement stage experts, there were less than 100 who could directly participate in the battle. The others could only watch from the back. On Qin Haodong's side, there was Shang Guanxiong in front, and the 3-legged golden toad in the back. Occasionally, there were a few who broke through, but they were quickly killed by Morong Jinghong and the others. After fighting for a long time, these people could not gain any advantage at all. The situation had entered a stalemate. Qin Haodong came to Shang Guanxiong's side and said in a low voice, "General Shang Guan, they have too many people. If this goes on, we will lose sooner or later. We have to think of a way to break out of the encirclement." Shang Guanxiong waved his big knife and said, "No, we can only protect the princess by staying together. Once we break out, we will be separated. When that time comes, we will be in trouble." Qin Haodong was not an expert in warfare. He had never experienced such a large-scale battle back on Earth. Thinking about it, he felt that what Shang Guanxiong said was right. However, if they did not break out of the encirclement and stood there passively, defeat was only a matter of time. Just as the two of them were talking, the leader of the black-clothed people seemed to have lost his patience. He let out a sharp whistle, and his men, who had been attacking crazily, immediately retreated. However, these people did not completely leave. Instead, they retreated to the 4 sides, forming a circle with a diameter of 100 meters. Shang Guanxiong let out a long breath and cursed, "These bastards from the Ghost King sect. When I go back and report this to the king, I will definitely exterminate them." Qin Haodong said, "You are mistaken. These are not people from the Ghost King sect at all. They are soldiers from Pegasus City. The reason why they are like this is because they want to kill the princess and make the Ghost King sect take the blame for them." "Impossible, this is absolutely impossible." Shang Guanxiong shook his head repeatedly. "Xiahou Hongxiang is just a city lord. How could he have the guts to attack the princess?" Qin Haodong sighed. The guy in front of him was loyal and brave enough, but he lacked a brain. At this time, he still could not see the reality. Just as he was about to say something, the black-clothed people began to change. A large group of archers came to the front of the group and aimed at the people in the encirclement. They were about to shoot at the same time. A great sense of danger rose in Qin Haodong's heart. He shouted, "Oh no, it's the god-killing arrows." Shang Guanxiong was also shocked. If he fell into the encirclement of the god-killing arrows, even a late-stage body integration expert would not be able to do anything. He would quickly become a hedgehog. He said in a panic, "What is going on? When did the people from the Ghost King sect have god-killing arrows? I already said that they are soldiers from Pegasus City. They are not from the Ghost King sect." Qin Haodong shouted, "Everyone hide." After saying that, he pulled Zhao Xingyue and the little demon girl to hide behind the three-legged golden toad. This guy had the bloodline of the dragon clan, so its defense was amazing. It was the perfect shield. As for the 7-stage pagoda, he did not want to reveal all his trump cards in front of Shang Guanxiong. Shang Guanxiong and his subordinates were panicking. They had never thought that they would one day have to face the god-killing arrows. After all, this was something that only they had. Before they could think of a way to deal with it, the leader of the black-robed men gave the order to kill. Fire! It was Xiahou Hongxiang's voice. It seemed that this old man had already regarded the people in front of him as dead people, so he did not hide his identity anymore. After receiving the order, the archers released thousands of arrows. The god-killing arrows rained down on Shang Guanxiong and the others like torrential rain. Shang Guanxiong and his subordinates waved the weapons in their hands with all their might, blocking the god-killing arrows. Unfortunately, the god-killing arrows were too powerful. Each arrow contained an extremely dense evil qi. This evil qi could not only break through the true qi protection, but it could also invade the opponent's meridians and slow down the opponent's movements. In just a breath's time, the scene was filled with miserable screams. One by one, the guards fell to the god-killing arrows. In the blink of an eye, they had become hedgehogs. "Old Xiahou, the emperor will not let you go." Shang Guanxiong's eyes were red and his eyes were wide open. However, anger was useless at this time. In the blink of an eye, the god-killing arrows had also broken through his defense. A god-killing arrow pierced through his right chest. Then, the arm that held the saber and both legs were pierced by the god-killing arrows. Shang Guanxiong spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground with a thud. As for Qin Haodong's side, although the three-legged golden toad had the blood of the dragon clan and had amazing defense, these god-killing arrows were too powerful. Each arrow could break through its defense and cause a string of blood to bloom on its skin. Although these were only superficial wounds and were not fatal, it would not be a solution for a long time. Seeing that Shang Guanxiong was seriously injured and fell to the ground, Qin Haodong no longer hesitated. A ray of golden light shot out from his forehead and covered Zhao Xingyue, the little witch, Shang Guanxiong, and the others. Then they disappeared from the scene in an instant. As soon as they left, countless god-vanquishing arrows were shot at the place where they had stopped. Where is he? Why did he suddenly disappear? Xiahou Hongxiang no longer hid his identity. He directly took off the ghost mask from his head. Jiangbin stood next to him and said, "Yes, where did Qin Haodong go? Why did so many people suddenly disappear?" Just as they were puzzled, there was a sudden buzzing sound, and then an overwhelming number of small black dots appeared in the night sky. "Ah!" Several soldiers standing at the forefront suddenly let out heart-wrenching screams, and then they were swallowed by the small black dots, turning into white bones in the blink of an eye. These are phantom flying ants. After seeing the true identity of these small black dots, Xiahou Hongxiang was shocked. The phantom flying ants were only 4th-grade magical beasts. One of them would not cause much damage to the soldiers, and they could be killed easily. However, there were tens of thousands of phantom flying ants in front of them, like dark clouds. This was not something that ordinary soldiers could fight against. Although the god-killing arrow was powerful, it was only for cultivators. For these small ants, it was like using a cannon to kill mosquitoes. It did not have much effect at all. Moreover, the quota of god-killing arrows was limited. The wave of attacks just now had consumed a lot of them, and the remaining ones were not enough for him to squander. Originally, Xiahou Hongxiang wanted to send people to search, but seeing the scene in front of him, he could only order a retreat. Retreat, retreat quickly. After the order was given, the soldiers immediately retreated like a tide. Even so, there were still dozens of white bones left. Xiahou Hongxiang led his men and retreated dozens of kilometers. Seeing that the illusionary flying ant wasn't following them, he stopped. Jiang Bin said, "General, what happened today is really strange. Where did that Qin Haodong go? Where did these phantom flying ants come from?" Xiahou Hongxiang thought for a moment and said, "I guess it's very likely that this guy has a magic weapon that can teleport, and he escaped with the power of the magic weapon. As for these damn ants, God knows where they came from." Jiang Bin said with a solemn expression, "This guy has escaped from the sure-kill trap. If they get to the capital, will they cause trouble for you?" Chapter 938. Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Before we set off, my wife had already returned to Royal City to seek help from Master Sun Qingdu. Take your men back to Pegasus City now. I'll go see the queen. The king trusts Sheng Guanqiong the most, but I just saw him turned into a hedgehog. He's dead for sure. Princess Xingyue is the only one left. If the queen is willing to help, she won't be able to do anything by herself." Jiang Bin said, "General, you're indeed a great strategist. I admire you very much." Xiahou Hongxiang said, "Take your men back to Pegasus City. I'll find a place to rest. We'll go to Royal City at dawn to see the queen." Jiang Bin agreed, and disappeared into the night with his 3,000 soldiers. Xiahou Hongxiang had wanted to check out the place, but before he could get close, he was scared away by the swarm of phantom flying ants. Qin Haodong took everyone back to the 7-step pagoda. He first checked the 3-legged golden toad's injuries. It was indeed a magical beast with dragon blood. The wounds caused by the god-killing arrow had healed, but it was a little dispirited due to excessive blood loss. Seeing that it was fine, Qin Haodong put it into the spiritual beast bag to recuperate. Then he turned to look at Sheng Guanqiong. The deputy commander of the Imperial Guards had been shot by 9 god-killing arrows, and was unconscious on the ground. His breath was getting weaker and weaker, and he was only a step away from death. Qin Haodong checked his injuries. Of the 9 god-killing arrows, only the one that had pierced through his right chest had caused the most damage. The others were just flesh wounds. Fortunately, he was here today. Otherwise, Sheng Guanqiong's life would have been lost here. He first sealed the acupoints on his chest with silver needles, then slowly took out the god-killing arrow, and used the heaven-reversing needle technique to repair his injured meridians. After a series of treatments, Sheng Guanqiong's face slowly regained its color. It seemed that his life was saved. Qin Haodong applied the medicine to his wounds, fed him a healing pill, and sealed his sleeping acupoint. The 7-step pagoda was his last trump card, so he didn't want Sheng Guanqiong to know about it. He couldn't let him wake up for the time being. Seeing that Qin Haodong was done, the little witch came over and said, "Little brother, fortunately you have this treasure. Otherwise we would all be dead today." Zhao Xingyue said angrily, "This Xiahou Hongxiang is really crazy. He actually dared to use the god-killing arrow against us. When we return to Royal City, I will definitely report him to my father." Qin Haodong said, "You'd better keep your mouth shut when you go back. Leave it to Sheng Guanqiong, and let him talk to your father. Only then will it be more convincing." Zhao Xingyue was used to the intrigue in the palace since she was a child. She immediately understood the meaning of Qin Haodong's words. She nodded and said, "Big brother Qin is right. I will listen to you." The little she-devil said, "Little big brother, can we directly return to Royal City from the 7th-tier pagoda? It's too troublesome to pass through the Doomsday Forest." Hearing her words, the others also looked over. They didn't know if the 7th-floor pagoda could do that. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "You're thinking too much. It's already not bad that the 7th-floor pagoda could teleport us here. If we want to leave, the exit can only be from where we just disappeared. So we have to wait for Xiahou Hongxiang's men to leave before we can leave. You guys take a good rest, and quickly recover your cultivation. When the sun rises, we will go out and directly pass through the Doomsday Forest." With that, he picked up a god-killing arrow and began to study it slowly. The arrow was condensed with a dense killing aura. When he held it in his hand, he actually felt like it was going to tear apart his vital energy shield. What a strong killing aura. No wonder it could injure a form synthesis expert. Qin Haodong sighed inwardly. This made him even more curious about the mysterious evil condensing furnace. If he could condense such a dense killing aura on his bullets, it would be 10 times stronger than the god-killing arrow. After a few hours, when he felt that it was about time, Qin Haodong led everyone from the 7th-floor pagoda back to the small valley at the edge of the Doomsday Forest. At this time, a red sun slowly rose. The traces of the battle last night were still there, but Xiahou Hongxiang's army had completely retreated. Qin Haodong stored all the illusionary flying ants into the 7th-floor pagoda and raised his hand to unseal Shangguan Qiong's acupoints. Where am I? Am I already dead? The moment she was shot by the god-killing arrow, Shangguan Qiong thought that she would definitely die. She never expected to see the rising sun again. Could there be a sun in hell? The little she-devil said, "You're not dead. Brother Qin saved you. Otherwise you would really be dead. Thank you for saving my life, little brother." After a night of rest, his injuries had recovered by 80%. He stood up from the ground and turned to look at Zhao Xingyue. "Your Highness, are you all right?" Zhao Xingyue said, "I'm fine." "That's good." Shangguan Qiong heaved a sigh of relief and cursed angrily. "That old bastard Xiahou Hongxiang, I definitely won't let him off." After calming down, she asked again, "Little brother Qin, how did you get out of that situation last night?" Qin Haodong had already thought of an excuse. "Yesterday, we were on the brink of death, but then a large number of phantom flying ants suddenly appeared, which made Xiahou Hongxiang's men retreat." As he spoke, he pointed to the sparkling white bones next to him. "Look, those are Xiahou Hongxiang's dead men." Shangguan Qiong was not too scheming. After seeing the dead bodies and the god-killing crossbows on the ground, she immediately believed Qin Haodong's words. This is Her Highness's great fortune, and Xiahou Hongxiang deserves to die. Princess Xingyue said, "Let's hurry back to Royal City and report what happened here to father." Shangguan Qiong nodded. Everyone rose into the air and flew in the direction of Royal City. After flying for 6 or 7 hours, they finally arrived at the capital of Xuanwu Kingdom at noon. Compared to Pegasus City, the area of Royal City was twice as large. The city walls were tall, and the population was large. It looked extremely prosperous. Shangguan Qiong said, "Flying is forbidden in Royal City. Let's go down and enter through the city gate." After saying that, he landed on the ground and showed his waist tag to the soldiers guarding the gate. Then he led everyone into Xuanwu Royal City. After walking through the city gate, Qin Haodong faintly felt the fluctuations of a formation. It should be a large-scale formation that restricted flying of cultivators. Shangguan Qiong said to Zhao Xingyue, "Princess, when we came out, His Majesty specifically told us to go to the palace to see him as soon as we bring you back to Royal City." Zhao Xingyue nodded. She knew that they had to pass this hurdle eventually. Everyone walked toward the palace together. The palace of Xuanwu Royal City was magnificent. In terms of scale, it was larger than the Forbidden City on Earth, and the buildings were taller. The security here was tight, and palace guards could be seen everywhere, ready for battle. Shangguan Qiong was the deputy commander of the Imperial Palace, so she was very familiar with the situation here. Soon, she led everyone to King Zhao Xianlong's palace. After being notified, Zhao Xingyue brought Qin Haodong and the others to see the king. This was the palace, not the main hall, so it didn't look so dignified. After entering the door, Qin Haodong saw a middle-aged man in his 50s, sitting on the main seat opposite. There was a dignified aura in his eyes. This man should be Zhao Xianlong, the king of Xuanwu Kingdom. Next to him sat a middle-aged woman wearing a phoenix crown and a red robe. She was Queen Wu Yuanyang. Although she was old, she still looked beautiful. Compared with girls like Zhao Xingyue, she had a mature and sexy charm. But if one looked closely, they could see that there was a fierce aura between this woman's eyebrows. At first glance, they could tell that she was not an easy person to get along with. Shangguan Qiong stepped forward and bowed, saying, Your Majesty, I have brought Her Highness back safely. Zhao Xingyue followed and said, Father, Mother, Xingyue is back. Zhao Xianlong looked at his daughter, who he hadn't seen for a long time, and snorted coldly, You are getting bolder and bolder. How dare you sneak out of the palace? Do you know how worried your mother and I have been these days? Zhao Xingyue said, Father, you are right. It's Xingyue's fault this time. Wu Yuanyang said, Your Majesty, it's good that Xingyue is back safely. Don't blame her so much. Seeing this woman speak for Zhao Xingyue with a smile, Qin Haodong thought to himself that this woman was very shrewd and good at hiding daggers in her smile. He must be careful when dealing with her in the future. Zhao Xianlong said, Since your mother is pleading for you, I will let it go this time. Don't do it again in the future. Zhao Xingyue bowed again. Thank you, Father and Mother. Zhao Xianlong's expression eased a lot. He said, How are you doing outside? Did you suffer any grievances? Zhao Xingyue said, I have a good life in Xuanwu Academy and learned a lot. My cultivation has improved from the late stage of divine transformation realm to the late stage of void training realm. According to Qin Haodong's instructions, she didn't take the initiative to mention Xiahou Hongxiang. She waited for Shengguan Qiong to take the initiative to mention it. Good, good. Zhao Xianlong nodded with satisfaction. He didn't expect his daughter to make such great progress in such a short time. He could also see that Zhao Xingyue's character had changed a lot from the timid girl before. She now had the grace of a royal princess. At this time, the straightforward Shengguan Qiong came forward and bowed, saying, Your Majesty, I have something important to report to you. Zhao Xianlong said, What's the matter? Shang Guanqiong recounted how he had brought Princess Xingyu back, and how they had been attacked. Finally he said, Your Majesty, Xiahou Hongxiang actually brought people to attack Her Highness. Please punish him. How dare you? Zhao Xianlong was furious. Xiahou Hongxiang dared to attack my daughter. Does he want to rebel? At this time, Zhao Xingyue said again, Father, I was offended by the Xiahou family many times in Pegasus City this time. Then she told him how Xiahou Zhen wanted to take her as his 13th concubine, how Zhang Sunlan came to catch them in the act, and how Xiahou Chun bullied people in the tea house. After listening to her, Zhao Xianlong became even angrier. He said coldly, Shengguan Qiong, immediately send 20,000 soldiers to Pegasus City and arrest Xiahou Hongxiang. Your Majesty, wait a minute. At this time, Wu Yuanyang, who was sitting next to him, said, Your Majesty, there is actually something hidden in this matter. Zhao Xianlong turned his head and looked at her. What is it? How do you know? Your Majesty, please calm down. Let me tell you slowly. Wu Yuanyang said, Your Majesty, in fact, Xiahou Hongxiang is in my palace now. He came to me early this morning to ask for forgiveness. There are actually many misunderstandings in this matter. Xiahou Hongxiang is loyal to the Xuanwu kingdom and has no intention of rebelling, nor does he dare to offend the Wang family. Zhao Xianlong said angrily, The Xiahou family disrespected my daughter one after another and openly sent troops to kill her. Isn't this a rebellion? Chapter 939. Wu Yuanyang said, Your Majesty, as far as I know, it was not the soldiers of Pegasus City who tried to kill Princess Xingyue. They were from the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong had been watching quietly. From Wu Yuanyang's reaction, he could guess that Xiahou Hongxiang must have come to Pegasus City first. The two of them were definitely in cahoots. Zhao Xianlong turned to Shengguan Qiong and asked, Is that so? Were the soldiers of Pegasus City, or the Ghost King sect, who tried to kill Princess Xingyue? Shengguan Qiong had always been upright and only loyal to the king Zhao Xianlong. Although she knew that Wu Yuanyang was defending Xiahou Hongxiang, she still said without hesitation, Your Majesty, although they were wearing the masks of the Ghost King sect, I could tell that they were not from the Ghost King sect. They were soldiers of Pegasus City, disguised as Ghost King sect members. Zhao Xianlong frowned and asked, How did you know? Do you have any proof? Shengguan Qiong took out a god-killing arrow with blood on it and said, Your Majesty, this is the god-killing arrow that was used to kill me. At the same time, the 20 palace guards I brought with me were all killed by this god-killing arrow. Other than the elite soldiers of the kingdom, who else could have a god-killing arrow? Therefore, these people were not from the Ghost King sect at all. They were soldiers of Pegasus City in disguise. Before Zhao Xianlong could speak, Wu Yuanyang said directly, Your Majesty, Xiahou Hongxiang has just told me about the god-killing arrow. Just 2 nights ago, Pegasus City was attacked by the Ghost King sect. Not only were all the spirit stones in the treasury stolen, but they also lost 3,000 god-killing arrows. Zhao Xianlong's face showed a touch of astonishment. How could such a thing happen? Wu Yuanyang said, It is true. I guess the reason why the Ghost King sect stole the god-killing arrows was to frame Xiahou Hongxiang. General Xiahou Hongxiang is the pillar of the kingdom. These years he has killed countless people from the Ghost King sect. Naturally he would be hated by them. It is normal that he was framed. But Your Majesty, please do not be deceived by them. Speaking of this, she said to Zhao Xingyue, Xingyue, you have been in Pegasus City for a few days. Were you attacked by the Ghost King sect? Well, although Zhao Xingyue did not want to speak up for Xia and Hong Xiang, she could not lie, so she nodded and said, That is indeed the case. The night before yesterday, the Ghost King sect launched an attack in Pegasus City and sent a large number of people to assassinate my friend. Wu Yuanyang then said to Zhao Xianlong, Your Majesty, this is the Ghost King sect's trick. They want to alienate the Wu Fu from the kingdom. This woman is as she is Qin Qin. Qin Haodong secretly admired that Wu Yuanyang was able to seize all favorable conditions to defend herself. She was able to mix truth and falsehood, which was extremely brilliant. At this time, Shengguan Xiong said, But during the interception, I clearly heard Xiahou Hongxiang speak. That was his voice, there's no mistaking it. When Wu Yuanyang said this, she suddenly changed her voice. She actually spoke exactly like Shengguan Xiong. Your Majesty, this humble concubine has also learned a little of this method to change one's voice. Do you think what I said is similar? Shengguan Xiong was stunned. He did not expect Wu Yuanyang to be able to imitate him so well. If he closed his eyes, he would not be able to tell which one was real and which one was fake. He was speechless. Seeing that Wu Yuanyang's words were reasonable, Zhao Xianlong hesitated for a moment before saying, Even if we don't count the last robbery, the Xiahou family should be punished for repeatedly disrespecting Princess Xingyue. Your Majesty is right. It is Xiahou Hongxiang's fault for not being strict enough. Wu Yuanyang seemed to be flattering Zhao Xianlong, but she also lightened Xiahou Hongxiang's punishment. She continued, However, the people from the Xiahou clan have already received the punishment they deserve. Xiahou Zhen is dead, Xiahou Chun is now a cripple, and even Zhang Sunlan has been severely punished by Xiahou Hongxiang. General Xiahou Hongxiang has promised me that he will strictly discipline his family when he goes back. This kind of thing will never happen again. Impressive. Wu Yuanyang's performance was not inferior to the heroines in court dramas. With just a few simple words, she was able to dispel Xiahou Hongxiang's crime of rebelling. Zhao Xianlong said, Let's put this matter aside for now. Shengguan Xiong, send someone to investigate and see if there is any other relevant evidence. If Xiahou Hongxiang is really rebelling, I will not let him off easily, but I can't easily wrong a loyal official. Your Majesty, having said what needed to be said, Shengguan Xiong retreated to the side and did not speak again. Zhao Xingyue was unwilling to give up and was hesitating to say something. At this time, she heard Wu Yuanyang say, Your Majesty, Xingyue is not young anymore. Sister Chun has already arranged a marriage for her. But the girl secretly ran away. Now that she is back, do you think it is time to set the marriage? Previously, she had already betrothed Zhao Xingyue to Chen Xuanling's son, Chen Rui. Now that the old matter was brought up again, it immediately diverted the attention of everyone present. At this time, not only Zhao Xianlong, but also Zhao Xingyue's attention was shifted to this marriage. She said eagerly, Father, I want to decide my own marriage. Xingyue, you are wrong. Wu Yuanyang put on a respectful expression and said, Since ancient times, Marriage is decided by parents. Although your mother passed away early, as your aunt, I have to be responsible for your marriage. I have seen Chunrui. Not only is he handsome, but he is also very talented. He has reached the early body integration stage at such a young age. What are you dissatisfied with such a young talent? If she had said this in the past, Zhao Xingyue would not have dared to say anything. But today, Zhao Xingyue was no longer the timid girl of the past. Mother, you must have been deceived by him. As far as I know, Chunrui is good at eating, drinking, whoring and gambling. He often does things that are against reason and bully people. How can such a person be called a young talent? Wu Yuanyang was slightly stunned, but she quickly regained her composure. Xingyue, it's not a big deal for young people to have fun. You are the princess of our Black Tortoise Kingdom. As long as you marry him, he will listen to you and do whatever you want. The most important thing is that Chunrui is really capable. He has reached the body integration stage at such a young age, and is known as the eight-armed divine dragon. There are not many outstanding people like him in our Black Tortoise Kingdom. No, I will not marry Chunrui no matter what. Zhao Xingyue, who lacked courage, had dared to resist this marriage before, let alone now. She ignored Wu Yuanyang and turned to Zhao Xianlong and said, Father, I already have a sweetheart. Zhao Xianlong was slightly stunned. Then he said with a smile, Xingyue, tell me which young master you like? Wu Yuanyang frowned. She did not expect that Zhao Xingyue's character would change so much in just over a month. Not only did she dare to openly oppose her opinion, but she also had a sweetheart. Zhao Xingyue pulled Qin Haodong's arm and said, Father, I like Brother Qin. If it wasn't for him, I would have been dead when I went to the 7th-floor pagoda to train. Zhao Xianlong carefully looked at Qin Haodong from head to toe. Then he nodded and said, Not bad, young man. Wu Yuanyang naturally would not let Zhao Xingyue escape from her grasp so easily. She said to Qin Haodong, Young man, where are you from? Which royal family are you from? Seeing Zhao Xingyue's sincere eyes, Qin Haodong naturally could not back down. He said indifferently, Your Majesty, I am just an ordinary person without parents. I am studying at Black Tortoise Academy. Ordinary person? That's not suitable for our Black Tortoise royal family. Wu Yuanyang asked again, How is your cultivation now? What realm have you reached? Black Tortoise Continent respected martial arts. Even if one's background was not good, if one's cultivation could suppress others, they could still occupy a place. Qin Haodong said, I am at the peak of void training. Your cultivation at the peak of void training should be considered outstanding at your age, but you are still a little worse than Chunrui. Wu Yuanyang turned to Zhao Xianlong and said, Your Majesty, as you can see, although this young man is good, he is not as good as Chunrui in terms of family background and cultivation. I don't think he is worthy of our Princess Xingyue. Zhao Xingyue quickly said, Brother Qin saved my life, and he is also the person I like. I sincerely hope that father can help me. Wu Yuanyang said, Xingyue, we can thank him for saving your life, but marriage is not a child's play. You can't be easily emotional. Seeing that Zhao Xianlong still had a trace of hesitation, Princess Xingyue said, Father, since mother said that Chunrui is outstanding, then let him compete with Brother Qin. I will marry whoever wins. Although Chunrui's cultivation had reached the early stage of form synthesis, Zhao Xingyue had seen Qin Haodong's combat strength. He was invincible in the entire form synthesis stage, with just a three-legged golden toad. That was why she proposed such a proposal. That's a good idea. Zhao Xianlong immediately agreed and said with a smile, If you want to marry my Princess Xingyue, you must have the ability. It's settled. Let Chunrui and Qin Haodong compete. Whoever wins will be my son-in-law. Wu Yuanyang's expression changed slightly, and then she said, I also think it's a good idea, but we still need to specify the rules of the competition, otherwise it will be unfair. Zhao Xianlong said, Do you have any good suggestions, Your Majesty? Wu Yuanyang said, This young man comes from a poor family and has no family background. I think he can't compare with Chunrui in terms of wealth and treasures. So I suggest that they only fight with their own cultivation. No magic weapons or magical beasts are allowed to help. Only in this way can we ensure fairness to him. After hearing this, Zhao Xingyue's expression immediately changed. In her opinion, Qin Haodong's biggest reliance was the three-legged golden toad. However, the rules set by Wu Yuanyang did not allow magical beasts to participate in the battle. On the surface, it seemed that she was helping Qin Haodong, but in fact, it directly weakened his combat strength. Qin Haodong looked indifferent. It seemed that this woman knew a lot about him from Xiahou Hongxiang, and she had also inquired about the three-legged golden toad. However, he did not care. Even if he did not use the three-legged golden toad, he was confident that he could defeat Chen Rui at the early stage of form synthesis. Your Majesty is thoughtful. Zhao Xianlong looked at Zhao Xingyue and Qin Haodong and said, "What do you think of the Empress's proposal?" This, Zhao Xingyue wanted to refute, but she could not find a suitable reason. After all, Wu Yuanyang's words were too high-sounding. Qin Haodong said, "Thank you for your consideration, Your Majesty. I have no objection." Chapter 940. Zhao Xianlong said, "Since no one has any objections, then it's decided. Young lad, you've just arrived at our Black Tortoise Kingdom. Go take a rest first. As for the time of the martial arts competition, we'll decide after consulting with the Chen family." After that, he asked Shengguan Xiong to take Qin Haodong and the others to the courier hostel in the kingdom to rest. Zhao Xingyue also followed them there. After settling down, she took Qin Haodong to an empty room and said anxiously, "Brother Qin, can you beat Chen Rui if you don't use your warcraft?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. I won't let you marry that guy if you don't want to." "Thank you, Brother Qin." After getting a guarantee, Zhao Xingyue's heart calmed down a little. She said shyly, "Brother Qin, I'm sorry. I was forced to come up with this idea." Qin Haodong said, "It doesn't matter. We are classmates and friends. It's my duty to help you." Zhao Xingyue lowered her head and was silent for a while. Finally, she gathered her courage, raised her head and said, "Brother Qin, I don't want to use you to help me with this. I really like you. We'll talk about this later. I'll help you solve your current problem first." Qin Haodong hadn't figured out how to face Zhao Xingyue. He would return to Earth sooner or later, so he didn't want to leave too many emotional debts on the Lingwu continent. On the other side of the Black Tortoise Palace, Wu Yuanyang had also returned to her sleeping quarters. As soon as she entered the door, Xiahou Hongxiang came up to her and said nervously, "Your Highness, how is my matter?" It was all because of this woman in front of him that he had the glory and wealth he had today. Once he lost the Black Tortoise royal family's support, he would immediately be sent to the 18th level of hell. Wu Yuanyang lazily sat down on her chair and said arrogantly, "As long as I'm willing to speak up for you, there's nothing I can't handle. Your matter is already in the past, but you have to be more careful in the future. Don't give yourself away again. This consort doesn't have the time to deal with these stupid things for you." "Thank you, Your Highness, for your guidance," Xiahou Hongxiang said flatteringly. "In the future, this subordinate is willing to serve Your Highness like a dog or a horse, even if I have to sacrifice my life for you. It's good that you know how to be grateful." Wu Yuanyang waved her hand and asked Xiahou Hongxiang to stand up. She then said, "However, there have been some changes. Zhao Xingyue, that little girl, actually rejected my arranged marriage in front of the king. She said she took a fancy to that Qin brat. How much do you know about that brat?" At the mention of Qin Haodong, Xiahou Hongxiang gritted his teeth and said, "Your Majesty, you can tell that he's extremely lecherous just by looking at the women around him. Moreover, this brat is extremely cunning. I've planned to attack him several times, but I didn't manage to gain any advantage at all. He's still alive and well here." Wu Yuanyang glanced at him disdainfully. "You can't even deal with a brat in his 20s. You're really too incompetent." Yes, this subordinate is incompetent." In the face of Wu Yuanyang's contempt, Xiahou Hongxiang did not dare to show the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. He said with a flattering expression, "Your Majesty, this brat is definitely a great disaster. We absolutely cannot let him live. We must find an opportunity to get rid of him. Wu Yuanyang said. Didn't you say that he only has a 7th grade magical beast that is particularly powerful, and his cultivation is only at the void refinement realm? The king has arranged for him to compete with Chen Rui for marriage the day after tomorrow. Whoever wins will be the son-in-law of Xuanwu Kingdom. I've already suggested to the king that they are not allowed to use magical beasts in the competition. I think he won't be able to make any trouble. Xiahou Hongxiang frowned and said, Your Majesty, don't underestimate this brat. I failed several times before because I underestimated his strength. Although he seems to only have the cultivation of the void refinement realm, who knows if he has other means. So in my opinion, although Chen Rui seems to have an absolute advantage in this competition, he is not sure to win. Wu Yuanyang said. So what do you mean? Xiahou Hongxiang said. It's best to get rid of this brat before the competition. Otherwise, if he really wins the competition, it will be difficult to clean up. Is it really necessary to deal with such a young brat? Xiahou Hongxiang said. Your Majesty, don't underestimate Qin Haodong. It's really necessary. Wu Yuanyang thought for a moment and said, Well, I'll get rid of him with a little trick. Then she told him her plan. Every day after dinner, the king will come to my bedroom. Later, I will ask someone to call Qin Haodong into my bedroom, and then we will do this. Xiahou Hongxiang said with a flattering face, Your Majesty, it's really a wonderful plan. In this way, the king will not only kill Qin Haodong in anger, but also implicate Princess Xingyue and her companions. It's really a good plan that kills many birds with one stone. A touch of pride flashed across Wu Yuanyang's face. Just in case, take someone to guard outside the palace later. But don't come in without my order. Yes, Your Majesty. Xiahou Hongxiang agreed, and left to make preparations. Wu Yuanyang called the chief eunuch Ma Cheng over, and asked him to go to the post station to find Qin Haodong. Yes, Your Majesty. After receiving the order, Ma Cheng came to the post station with several young eunuchs. Qin Haodong and the others were chatting. They were slightly surprised to see an old eunuch come in. Zhao Xingyue asked, Chief Ma, what are you doing here? Your Highness, I'm an old servant. Although Ma Cheng said it politely, as the chief eunuch of the Empress, he was extremely arrogant. Your Highness, I'm here to summon Qin Haodong to the palace according to the Empress's order. Zhao Xingyue said, We've just met the Empress. Why did she summon Brother Qin to the palace? Ma Cheng said, I only know to convey the Empress's order. I don't know the details. Qin Haodong was the only man present, so he didn't need to ask. He said directly, Come with me. Wait a minute. Let me say something first. Zhao Xingyue pulled Qin Haodong aside and said in a low voice, Brother Qin, I guess that old woman must be up to no good by summoning you to the palace. Why don't I take you to plead with my father now? Qin Haodong smiled and said, If I go to your father for help just because she summoned me once, wouldn't that be too incompetent? Zhao Xingyue said, But that old woman is very vicious, and has all kinds of tricks. I'm afraid you'll be at a disadvantage if you go there. Qin Haodong said, Don't worry, the one who can make me suffer hasn't been born yet. There was no shortage of palace dramas on Earth. Those palace dramas brought out all the conspiracies and tricks in the palace, and sold them for money. Coupled with his 500 years of experience, he had this kind of confidence. Zhao Xingyue said, Well, you must be more careful. Qin Haodong nodded, and turned to walk into the palace with Ma Cheng. His spirit was extremely powerful, so he sensed Xiahou Hongxiang and the others hiding in the dark along the way. He couldn't help but sneer in his heart. This old woman must have some ulterior motives for summoning him here. Everything in the queen's bedroom was in a pink style, which could easily arouse people's imaginations. At this time, Wu Yuanyang was completely different from when she was in front of Zhao Xianlong. The previous solemnity and virtuousness were completely gone, and there was more charm on her face. Moreover, the new clothes she was wearing made Qin Haodong feel as if he was wearing the armor of the golden flower. The two hemispheres on her chest were extremely dazzlingly exposed in the air. It turned out that ancient clothes could really be so sexy. She stood up and waved her hand, driving all the maids and eunuchs out of the room. She looked back at Qin Haodong and said, "No wonder Zhao Xingyue likes you. You do look good." Qin Haodong said, "Your Majesty, why did you summon me here? Don't be so nervous." Wu Yuanyang smiled sweetly. "Look, how do I look?" Qin Haodong said, "Your Majesty, you have a beauty that eclipses the moon and shames the flowers, and captivates the fish and beasts." Eclipses the moon and shames the flowers, and captivates the fish and beasts? These two words are good. No wonder Xingyue is fascinated by you. Qin Haodong said, "I'm just telling the truth." Wu Yuanyang said, "Then how do I compare with Xingyue? Who is more beautiful between the two of us?" Qin Haodong said, "Plum, orchid, bamboo, and chrysanthemum each have their own advantages. Your Majesty has your beauty, and the princess has her beauty." Wu Yuanyang took 2 steps forward and said with a frivolous look, "If you had to choose between me and Zhao Xingyue, who would you choose?" Qin Haodong took half a step back slightly. "Your Majesty is so precious. I don't dare to think about it." Wu Yuanyang giggled and said, "To tell you the truth, the marriage between Zhao Xingyue and Chen Rui was arranged by me. No one is allowed to destroy it. If you are willing to quit, I can let you be my guest. What do you think?" At this moment, Qin Haodong had already guessed what Wu Yuanyang was thinking. He said, "Your Majesty, you must be joking." Wu Yuanyang's expression changed. "As long as you are willing to quit this marriage competition, you can set any conditions." Qin Haodong smiled slightly. "What if I don't want to?" Wu Yuanyang looked at Qin Haodong with burning eyes and suddenly smiled sweetly. "Young man, if you are too stubborn, you will easily suffer losses." Qin Haodong said, "I am a man of principle. There are some things that I will not give up." "Well, just pretend that I didn't say anything." Wu Yuanyang's character was changeable. She soon became as if nothing had happened. She asked kindly, "I heard that you have become a 6th-grade alchemist at a young age. Is that true?" "Yes, I am indeed a 6th-grade alchemist." "How are your medical skills?" "I know a thing or two." Wu Yuanyang said, "Young people are quite modest. I have some chest pain these days. How about you take a look at it for me?" As she said this, she returned to the bed and lay half lying on it. She put her jade-like wrist on the head of the bed. This posture made her extremely high chest even more eye-catching. "Okay." Qin Haodong came to the head of the bed and began to feel her pulse. After a while, he withdrew his right hand and said, "Your Majesty, you are very healthy. There is no problem." Wu Yuanyang said coquettishly, "But I often feel chest pain. What do you think is going on?" Qin Haodong said, "I don't know. You didn't take a good look at it." Wu Yuanyang sat up from the bed as she said this. She grabbed Qin Haodong's hand and put it on her chest. She said in a seductive tone, "Feel here carefully and maybe you can find the cause." Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. His powerful spirit had keenly sensed a sound of footsteps coming from outside the palace. It seemed that King Zhao Xianlong was coming. This woman was really good at scheming. She knew that Zhao Xianlong would definitely come to her at night, so she made such a trap for him in advance. A playful smile appeared on his face. "Since you want to play, then let's play a big game." "Your Majesty, I can't see it clearly just like this." As he said this, he pulled hard with both hands. Wu Yuanyang's clothes suddenly turned into pieces of butterflies flying around. Her whole upper body was no longer covered, and infinite spring scenery was exposed to the air. Chapter 941. "Ah, what are you going to do?" Wu Yuanyang was shocked. In her plan, as long as she exposed a little bit, Zhao Xianlong would catch her in bed, and she would blame him for forcibly molesting her. That would be enough. Zhao Xianlong would definitely kill Qin Haodong in a rage. But she never expected that the young man in front of her was much bolder than she expected. She just wanted to show a little bit, but now there was no cover at all. Qin Haodong said with a perfect smile, "Don't you want to seduce me? Of course I have to cooperate." After that, he pressed Wu Yuanyang under his body and took advantage of her. "Ah, help! Help!" Help! Help! Wu Yuanyang really panicked now. What if Zhao Xianlong and others really saw her like this? How could she have the face to stay in this palace in the future? What are you shouting for? Isn't this what you want? Qin Haodong smiled. At this time, he was keenly aware that Zhao Xianlong and others had obviously accelerated their pace when they heard the shouting and rushed to the bedchamber. Feeling that it was enough, he locked his spirit on Xiahou Hongxiang, who was secretly watching the scene outside the door, and then launched the Qimeng transposition skill. Xiahou Hongxiang was guarding in the corner with his men. When he heard the shouting inside and saw Zhao Xianlong and others rushing in, he couldn't help but smile proudly. Qin boy, let's see how you can survive this time. You are rude to the queen, and I will cut you into pieces. Just when he was secretly angry, the scene in front of him suddenly changed, and a white mountain was trembling in front of him. Ah, what's going on? Of course, Xiahou Hongxiang knew what was in front of him. He struggled to stand up, but his hands were pressed there. Ah, bastard, let me go, or the king will cut you into pieces. Wu Yuanyang was struggling desperately with her eyes closed, and did not see that the person on top of her had been replaced by Xiahou Hongxiang. The queen, after recognizing that the woman under him was Queen Wu Yuanyang, Xiahou Hongxiang was so scared that he even forgot to get up. Molesting the queen, how could that be tolerated? At this moment, Zhao Xianlong's group had already rushed in. When they saw the scene before them, they immediately let out an angry shout. You! What are you doing? Hurry up and get up. Seeing the scene before him, Zhao Xianlong was so angry that his face turned ashen and his body trembled. Behind him was Princess Star Moon. Seeing this, Zhao Xingyue shouted in disbelief. What are you doing? How shameless! After Qin Haodong was sent to the palace by Wu Yuanyang, she felt worried, so she went to the palace to find Zhao Xianlong. The two of them came here to help Qin Haodong, but they didn't expect to see such a thing. Only then did Xiahou Hongxiang come back to his senses. He hurriedly climbed out of bed and knelt on the ground. His entire body trembled as he cried, Your Majesty, please spare my life, please spare my life. Wu Yuanyang pulled over a bedsheet and wrapped it around her body. Then, she screamed with all her might, Your Majesty, please help this concubine. He's the one who forced himself on me. Although she didn't know why the person on top of her was Xiahou Hongxiang, she didn't care who it was at this moment in order to clear her name. No, it's not like this. Xiahou Hongxiang said incoherently. Your Majesty, I don't know what's going on either. I appeared in Her Majesty's bedchamber without knowing it. He really didn't understand until now. He was clearly guarding outside, so how did he suddenly appear on top of Wu Yuanyang? Do you think I'll believe you? Zhao Xianlong, who was furious, waved his hand and said, Drag Xiahou Hongxiang out and behead him. As soon as he gave the order, Si Baoquan, the minister of the imperial household, immediately rushed up with several guards and dragged Xiahou Hongxiang away. I'm wronged, Your Majesty, I'm wronged. Xiahou Hongxiang had never thought that he would be beheaded in the blink of an eye. He had finally taken off the hat of killing the princess and cleared his name. He thought that he would have a meteoric rise in his career in the future, but he never thought that he would be beheaded in the blink of an eye. Zhao Xianlong was not willing to listen to his feeble explanation. Si Baoquan was even more ruthless. Soon he raised his knife and directly cut off his head. When he returned to the bedchamber, he said to Zhao Xianlong, Your Majesty, I've killed the thief. Zhao Xianlong was obviously still angry. He said fiercely, Xiahou Hongxiang has ignored the royal family of Xuanwu and offended us many times. Pass my order. Directly search the Xiahou family and execute all 3 clans. Yes, Your Majesty, Si Baoquan answered and immediately asked someone to do it. Zhao Xianlong said to Wu Yuanyang angrily, As the queen, you have done all kinds of scandals. Tell me, what the hell is going on? Well, Wu Yuanyang found that the excuse she had prepared before was useless. Qin Haodong suddenly disappeared, and the person on top of her was Xiahou Hongxiang. She could only pretend to be pitiful and said, Your Majesty, it was that old thief who suddenly wanted to molest me. This has nothing to do with me. Princess Xingyu said angrily, It was he who wanted to molest you? Where are the eunuchs, maids, and guards around you? Could it be that old thief Xiaoho also drove them out? It's obvious that you and that old thief did the scandals together. In the past, Wu Yuanyang had always suppressed Zhao Xingyue. She did not expect that there would be a complete reversal today. This feeling made Wu Yuanyang feel extremely uncomfortable, but she could not fight back for a while. Your Majesty, I'm really wronged. Wronged? What do you have to be wronged? You have disgraced the royal family. Zhao Xingyue scolded Wu Yuanyang fiercely. She turned to Zhao Xianlong and said, Father, this kind of thing can't be forgiven easily. Otherwise, the royal family of Xuanwu will have no face in the future. Zhao Xingyue was extremely smart and hated Wu Yuanyang to the bone. Today, she finally seized this opportunity. She must do her best to beat this vicious woman into the 18th level of hell. In her opinion, Zhao Xianlong would definitely be furious after such a scandal. Even if he did not kill Wu Yuanyang, he would at least put her in the cold palace. However, she did not expect that Zhao Xianlong just snorted coldly, then turned his head and walked out of the palace. When he walked to the door, he stopped and said sternly to the eunuchs and palace maids around him, Listen to me, all of you. If anyone dares to leak a word of what happened today, his family will be executed. After that, he strode out of the queen's bedroom. Father. Zhao Xingyue did not expect that Zhao Xianlong would have such a reaction. He did not punish Wu Yuanyang at all. She glared at Wu Yuanyang, and then followed her father. Qin Haodong stood at the gate of the palace, and saw everything clearly. He had expected that Xiahou Hongxiang would be killed, but he did not expect that the queen's punishment would be so light. At this time, Zhao Xianlong walked past him, glanced at him, and said coldly, Come with me. Qin Haodong did not speak, and walked forward behind Zhao Xianlong. Zhao Xingyue caught up from behind, took Qin Haodong's hand and whispered, Brother Qin, are you okay? Qin Haodong nodded and said, I'm fine. They returned to Zhao Xianlong's bedroom. Zhao Xianlong asked everyone else to leave, leaving only Princess Xingyue and Qin Haodong. Zhao Xingyue said unwillingly, Father, the queen has done such a thing. Are we going to let it go? Zhao Xianlong said with a gloomy expression, Don't say anything. There are some things you don't understand. Zhao Xingyue said angrily, What do I not understand? It's obvious that she was with that old thief Xiahou. She wanted to say something, but was stopped by Qin Haodong. Don't say anything. I think the king also has something difficult to say. Zhao Xianlong was looking out of the window. When he heard this, he suddenly turned his head and looked at Qin Haodong coldly. What do you see? Qin Haodong said indifferently, It's not that the king doesn't want to punish the queen, but he doesn't dare. I guess there must be something on Wu Yuanyang, or something else that is difficult to say to others. Hearing this, Zhao Xingyue was shocked. She quickly pulled his sleeve and said, Haodong, don't talk nonsense. No matter what, Zhao Xianlong was the king of Xuanwu Kingdom. Once he was angered by such words, the consequences would be unimaginable. Zhao Xianlong did not get angry. On the contrary, he showed great interest and asked again, Then tell me, what is it about me that she has on me? Qin Haodong said, I think the king's aura is a little strange. It's very likely that he has been poisoned. A look of astonishment flashed across Zhao Xianlong's face. You can even see that. Hearing that her father had been poisoned, Zhao Xingyue immediately became nervous. Father, how are you? Are you okay? Zhao Xianlong waved his hand and said, Don't worry, at least for now. He then asked Qin Haodong, How did you see it? Because I'm a doctor. Many people used to call me medical sage. Medical sage? Zhao Xianlong said, It seems that your medical skills are very high. Can you cure my illness? Qin Haodong said, The poison in your body is very unusual. I have to carefully feel your pulse to know. He could almost see through ordinary diseases through observation, but the poison in Zhao Xianlong's body was very unusual. His aura was erratic, so he had to feel his pulse to be sure. Then help me take a look. A flash of joy flashed across Zhao Xianlong's face. It was already amazing that he could see so much without feeling his pulse. He had seen many doctors in the past, but none of them could even find out what was wrong with him. He pulled a chair and sat down, then put his wrist in front of Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong put his right hand on his pulse and began to feel it carefully. After a full 2 minutes, he withdrew his hand. Zhao Xingyue asked nervously, "Haodong, how is my father's illness? You must save him." Qin Haodong said, "It's very troublesome. The poison in the king's body is not ordinary, but a very strange poisonous insect." He had just seen that this kind of poisonous insect was somewhat similar to the Guan Huaxia, but it was not the same. It hid in the bone marrow and wandered around, so it was very difficult to determine its location. That's why it took a long time to feel his pulse. A flash of joy flashed across Zhao Xianlong's face again. "Young man, you're right. I was indeed poisoned by that bitch, Wu Yuanyang, with a very special kind of poisonous insect called bone maggot. This kind of poisonous insect is extremely rare, but it's extremely powerful. Once it breaks out, it will make people suffer from bone marrow pain. It's better to die than to live." Zhao Xingyue said angrily, "Why did this vicious woman poison father? Why didn't father kill her?" "Daughter, it's a long story. Let's talk about it later." Zhao Xianlong looked at Qin Haodong with a hopeful face and said, "Young man, can you cure my poison?" Qin Haodong said, "This kind of bone maggot is really very troublesome. It not only hides very deep, but also changes its location frequently. If it was before, I really wouldn't be able to cure it, but now I can." Chapter 942. Zhao Xianlong suddenly grabbed Qin Haodong's hand and said, "Young man, you're not lying to me, are you? Can you really cure my disease?" He had secretly seen many doctors before, but those who could see the maggots in his bones were few and far between, let alone remove the poison and treat him. Qin Haodong nodded and said, "I don't have to lie to you." Zhao Xianlong said with ecstasy, "Well, when can I start the treatment?" He had been tortured by this kind of bone maggot for many years. Now he finally saw hope, and his heart was naturally full of ecstasy. "Now," Qin Haodong said and asked Zhao Xianlong to take off all his clothes, leaving only a pair of shorts, and lie on the bed with his face up. Then he took out the silver needles and pierced them into his feet, then ankles, knees, lower abdomen, all the way up. In a short time, Zhao Xianlong's body was covered with dense silver needles. It was strange to say that as the needles pierced, a red line slowly moved up. This was the bone maggot hidden in the bone marrow. Although this thing was extremely cunning and difficult to control, Qin Haodong blocked its way little by little through the silver needles and slowly forced it to the top of his head. As time went on, the range of the red line's movement became smaller and smaller, and finally entered Zhao Xianlong's head. Qin Haodong began to pierce his baihui, fengqi and other major acupuncture points with the silver needles, and finally forced the bone maggot to the throat. If it had been before, he could only do this at most. It was very difficult to completely force the bone maggot out of his body. Once this thing found there was no way out, it would go on a rampage, which might make Zhao Xianlong explode and die. But now it was different. He had the best helper, the three-legged golden toad with dragon blood. After all the preparations were done, Qin Haodong suddenly summoned the three-legged golden toad. Coo! This guy was now at the top of the 7th grade magical beast, and immediately let out an earth-shattering roar after it came out. The three-legged golden toad had dragon blood, which was a huge deterrent to other low-grade magical beasts. And the bone maggot was also a kind of magical beast that had changed. Therefore, when the three-legged golden toad appeared, the bone maggot hiding in the throat immediately trembled in fear. Qin Haodong was waiting for this opportunity. He stretched out his hand and slapped Zhao Xianlong's chest. The invisible green wood genuine qi shook the absent-minded bone maggot out, and a bright red maggot sprayed from Zhao Xianlong's mouth. He raised a glass bottle in his left hand that he had prepared earlier, and directly stored the bone maggot inside. The maggot kept struggling in the glass bottle, trying to rush out. It was a pity that this thing was extremely powerful in the human body. Once it came out, it wouldn't have much power. Although Zhao Xingyue was much bolder now, she still couldn't help but take 2 steps back when she saw the bone maggot. She cried out in disgust, This thing is so disgusting. Zhao Xianlong, on the other hand, was in a different mood. He had been troubled by the bone maggot for many years. Now that this thing had finally been forced out, he was overjoyed. Zhao Xingyue said, "Brother Qin, this thing is too disgusting. Let's get rid of it as soon as possible." "It's not the time to kill it yet." Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "If this thing is still alive, Wu Yuanyang won't notice anything. Once the bone maggot is killed, they will immediately be alert, and it will be difficult for the king to deal with them." Haodong is right. After getting rid of the poisonous insects in his body, Zhao Xianlong suddenly became much closer to Qin Haodong, and even the way he addressed him changed. He said, "Haodong, what do you think I should do?" Qin Haodong said, "Before you are ready, not only can you not kill the bone maggot, but you have to carry it with you at all times, so that those people won't notice it." "That's right. I'll do as you say." Because the bone maggot in the glass bottle looked really disgusting, Zhao Xianlong took a yellow silk handkerchief, wrapped the glass bottle, and then put it in his pocket. He glanced at the majestic three-legged golden toad standing next to him. Even though he was an expert at the peak of the integration stage, this magical beast still brought him enough pressure. "Is this the spirit beast you're raising? It looks so powerful." "Yes, it's my three-legged golden toad. It has some dragon blood, so it could suppress the bone maggot just now. Otherwise, it would be really troublesome," Qin Haodong said as he put the three-legged golden toad back into the spirit beast bag. Seeing that everything was done, Zhao Xingyue asked, "Father, when did that bitch put the poisonous insects in you? What's going on?" Zhao Xianlong sighed and asked them to sit down. Then he said, "To be honest, although there are many concubines in the palace, I have only loved 2 women in my life. One is your mother, and the other is Wu Yuanyang. I just didn't expect that this woman, who looks like a virtuous woman, is actually vicious. Not only did she kill your mother, but she also killed your brothers and sisters." Zhao Xingyue said excitedly, "Father, since you already know, why didn't you kill that bitch to avenge my mother?" "It's not as simple as you think," Zhao Xianlong said. "This woman is extremely insidious. She colluded with the national teacher Sun Qingdu. Everything was done quietly. I loved her very much, so I didn't suspect her. I didn't realize that something was wrong until she killed your last brother. But at that time, she had already put the bone maggot in me. If I did anything to her at that time, both of us would suffer. They would die, and I would die. In fact, I don't care about death, but the Xuanwu royal family is passed down from my ancestors. I can't let my ancestors' foundation be destroyed in my hands." Wu Yuanyang and Sun Qingdu also saw this, so we finally reached an agreement. They gave me the antidote every month, and I promised to pass the throne to Prince Zhaoyu when he was 20 years old. Qin Haodong said, "Your Majesty, there's one thing I don't understand. Why didn't they directly use the bone maggot to kill you, and then sit on the throne themselves? Why did they wait so long?" A light flashed in Zhao Xianlong's eyes. "I'm not a fool. How can I let them hold the power so easily?" Although the national teacher, Sun Qingdu, is now in a high position, he still can't control the whole Xuanwu kingdom. More than half of the power is still in my hands. I've already given a secret order to my trusted generals. If I suddenly die, they will directly kill Zhang Sun Qingdu and Wu Yuanyang regardless of the cause of death. So once they do something to me, no one will benefit. It's better to wait for Prince Zhaoyu to succeed," Zhao Xingyue said. "But father, once you lose the throne, they will immediately kill you." Zhao Xianlong said, "How can I face your mother and the children I lost? As long as I can protect the foundation left by the ancestors of the Zhao family, it doesn't matter if I die or not." "Father, you still have me. You can't die," Zhao Xingyue said. "Now that Haodong has helped you get rid of the bone maggot, we can now kill that bitch Wu Yuanyang and Zhang Sun Qingdu." Zhao Xianlong waved his hand and said, "It's not as simple as you think. All these years, Zhang Sun Qingdu has been quietly accumulating strength. Although more than half of the people in Xuanwu Kingdom are still loyal to me, a small part of them have been won over by him. Moreover, he is an expert at the Deshang stage. If I can't kill an expert of this level in one blow, there will be endless troubles in the future. If I openly declare war on them now, even if I can get rid of Zhang Sunqingdu and Wu Yuanyang, the strength of Xuanwu Kingdom will be greatly damaged. Now the Lingwu continent is not peaceful. Among the 4 kingdoms, Xuanwu Kingdom is the weakest. The other 3 kingdoms are eyeing us covetously. If we do something that will harm our brothers and sisters, I'm afraid they will immediately send troops to us. As the head of Xuanwu Kingdom, he still had a long-term vision. Zhao Xingyue said anxiously, "But we can't always endure like this. Otherwise, when can we avenge our mother and siblings?" Zhao Xianlong said, "A little impatience will spoil a great plan. Revenge must be taken, but we have to wait for the right time." She knew that her father was right. Although she hated Wu Yuanyang to the bone, Zhao Xingyue could only temporarily suppress the hatred in her heart. Zhao Xianlong said to Qin Haodong, "Haodong, thank you for getting rid of a big trouble for me this time." "What reward do you want? If you want to be an official, I will immediately make you an official. If you want money, as long as our Xuanwu Kingdom can provide it, I will not be stingy." Although he could not get rid of Wu Yuanyang and Zhang Sunqingdu now, he had successfully taken the first step, so he was very grateful to the young man in front of him. "Your Majesty, since you are generous enough, then I won't stand on ceremony," Qin Haodong said. "I have no interest in being an official, nor do I want money. I just want a reward from your Majesty." Zhao Xianlong was slightly stunned. "Do you want Princess Xingyue? If it was before, I could immediately agree to it. But now the news of the marriage competition has spread throughout the kingdom. I can't go back on my word." "That's not what I'm talking about," Qin Haodong said. "Your Majesty, I heard that the Xuanwu Kingdom has a treasure called the mysterious evil condensing furnace." Hearing this, Zhao Xianlong's expression suddenly changed. He waved his hand decisively and said, "Absolutely not. The mysterious evil condensing furnace is the foundation of the Xuanwu Kingdom. I can't give it to you." Qin Haodong said, "Your Majesty, you misunderstood me. I don't want the mysterious evil condensing furnace." Zhao Xianlong asked, "Then what do you mean?" Qin Haodong said, "I just want to borrow it once to refine a weapon." "Oh." Zhao Xianlong was immediately relieved when he heard that it would only be used once. Okay. Although the mysterious evil condensing furnace was scarce, it was not a big deal to lend it to Qin Haodong once since it was not a war. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. With the mysterious evil condensing furnace, he could refine the bullets in his storage ring. Zhao Xianlong asked again, "By the way, you haven't told me what happened tonight. Don't say it has nothing to do with you." Zhao Xingyue said, "Father, why do you ask? What happened today was obviously Wu Yuanyang's adultery with Xiahou Hongxiang. What does it have to do with Brother Qin?" Zhao Xianlong said, "I know Wu Yuanyang very well. Although this woman is cruel, she has high standards. It's impossible for her to like Xiahou Hongxiang, and it's impossible for her to have an affair with him when I go to her bedroom every day." This, Zhao Xingyue asked doubtfully. "In that case, why did you kill Xiahou Hongxiang?" Zhao Xianlong said, "Anyway, they did such a scandal, and Xiahou Hongxiang is Zhang Suncheng's man. Killing him can effectively reduce Zhang Suncheng's strength. Of course, I won't let go of this opportunity." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Your Majesty is really wise." "Boy, don't flatter me." Zhao Xianlong was in a good mood and said happily, "Tell me, how did you trick Wu Yuanyang?" Chapter 943. No wonder he was a king. He was much more shrewd than expected. Seeing that he could not hide it, Qin Haodong no longer hid it. He told her how Wu Yuanyang had brought him into the bedchamber tonight, and how she had seduced him. Finally, he said, "My master passed me a secret method since I was a child, so I swapped places with Xiahou Hongxiang at the last moment. That's what you saw when you arrived." Hearing this, Zhao Xianlong laughed and said, "Wu Yuanyang is a woman who is best at playing tricks, but this time she was defeated by you. It's really satisfying." Zhao Xingyue said angrily, No matter what, we killed Xiahou Hongxiang, that old bastard. He deserved it. Zhao Xianlong said. Yes, if it weren't for this, I would not have done anything to Xiahou Hongxiang. Now, he has been killed, but Wu Yuanyang can't say anything. It's satisfying to think about this. Originally, Wu Yuanyang was one of the women he loved the most, but after experiencing so many things, especially after he was poisoned by the bone maggot, their previous affection had vanished into thin air, and the two of them had become irreconcilable enemies. Qin Haodong said, When can you let me use the mysterious Yin condensing furnace? This was what he cared about most. He was now standing on the warship of Zhao Xianlong, and stood on the opposite side of Sun Chengcheng, the teacher of the country whom he had never met. With such a master of the Deshang stage as an enemy, the more cards in his hands, the better. You can do it now, but time is limited. You can only do it for 20 hours. You must come out tomorrow evening to participate in my daughter's marriage competition. No problem, I will come out on time. 20 hours was enough for Qin Haodong. Zhao Xingyue said with some dissatisfaction. Father, since the poisonous insects in your body have been removed, can't you just cancel the marriage competition? She had been unwilling to marry Chen Rui from the bottom of her heart, not to mention that she had someone she liked now. Zhao Xianlong said, That will alert the enemy. Now we can't alarm Wu Yuanyang and Zhang Sun Chengcheng. Zhao Xingyue said worriedly, But I'm afraid that Zhang Sun Cheng and the others will take this opportunity to attack Haodong. Qin Haodong said confidently, We still have to compete. We can't disturb them before we fight. But don't worry, I won't let you down. Good job, young man. I have high hopes for you. Zhao Xianlong laughed loudly. Then, he called over the deputy commander of the inner palace, Sheng Guanqiong, and got him to bring Qin Haodong to the Divine Machine Battalion to use the profound Yin evil condensing cauldron with his token. Sheng Guanqiong was very surprised by this decision. In his memory, no one had ever used the mystical Yin evil condensing cauldron in private. This was the first time since the creation of the world. He really did not know how this young man had managed to do it. However, since Zhao Xianlong had given the order, he naturally would not say anything. He led Qin Haodong directly to the Divine Strategy Battalion. After Qin Haodong showed his medallion, the Divine Strategy Battalion's commander led him to an underground secret room. This place was heavily guarded, and the Black Tortoise Kingdom's treasure, the profound Yin Fiend gathering furnace, was placed inside. After explaining how to use it, he turned around and left, closing the door. Qin Haodong looked up. This was a huge cauldron, dozens of times larger than his Shinnong cauldron. He did not know what material this profound Yin evil condensing cauldron was made of. Before he even got close, he could already feel the dense baleful Yin qi. Furthermore, this was just an extremely tiny wisp of aura seeping out. This showed how dense the baleful Yin qi inside was. No wonder the weapons it refined could break through a cultivator's protective qi. Following the commander's instructions, Qin Haodong opened the door of the cauldron and tossed in all the bullets, cannonballs, and bombs he had in his ring. In any case, this cauldron's space was very large. He had to use it once to its full capacity. After doing all this, he closed the door of the profound Yin evil condensing cauldron again, and activated the control formation. As the formation was activated, the profound Yin qi inside the profound Yin evil condensing cauldron became increasingly dense. In the queen's bedroom, after Zhao Xianlong and others left, Wu Yuanyang put on her clothes again. She walked around the room a few times and asked the eunuch in charge, Ma Cheng, to invite the nation master Sun Chengcheng over. After a while, a tall middle-aged man came in from outside, exuding an extremely powerful aura. He was the nation master of Xuanwu Kingdom, Zhang Sun Chengcheng, an expert in the Deshang stage. After entering the door, he saw Wu Yuanyang with a gloomy expression. He asked, Why did you call me here so late? Did something happen? Zhao Xianlong just killed Xiahou Hongxiang. Wu Yuanyang told him how she schemed against Qin Haodong tonight, and then fooled around with Xiahou Hongxiang. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, I really don't know what that Qin guy is doing. Does he know sorcery? There is no sorcery in this world, Zhang Sun Chengcheng said with a gloomy expression. I guess this guy has some special magic weapon, or some special magic, so he brought Xiahou Hongxiang here. Wu Yuanyang said with a face full of hatred. No matter what, this guy must die, or he will ruin our plan. No matter how cunning this guy is, he is just a nobody. As long as Zhao Xianlong is in our hands, no one else can do anything. Zhang Sun Chengqing asked again. How did Zhao Xianlong react? Did he go mad when he saw the scene? After all, no man can accept being cuckolded. Wu Yuanyang said. Of course he was angry, but what can he do? His life is now in our hands. Not to mention the fact that I don't have anything going on with Xiahou Hongxiang. Even if I do, what can he do? As long as he doesn't know that Zhao Yu is our son, the whole thing will be under our control. Zhang Sun Chengqing smiled proudly and said, You're right. Yu is already 18 years old. He can inherit the Xuanwu kingdom in 2 years. As long as Zhao Xianlong doesn't have power in his hands, he will be a tiger without teeth. At that time, we will tell him that Yu is our son. I believe he won't be able to rest in peace until he dies. He and Wu Yuanyang were not related by blood. The so-called half-brother and half-sister was just made up to deceive people. At this point, the resentment in Wu Yuanyang's heart seemed to dissipate a lot. You are really bad. Not only did you make him a cuckold, but you also stole his country and finally angered him to death. Zhang Sun Chengqing smiled and said, You still have the nerve to say that? Didn't you think of this idea? Wu Yuanyang said, Yu is our son. Since we can't give him a fair title, we have to find a good country for him. However, this matter is a bit troublesome. The current Zhao Xingyue has changed a lot. I think she may become a threat to Yuer's position. We have to think of a way to get rid of her. Zhang Sun Chengqing said indifferently. I think you are thinking too much. No matter what, Zhao Xingyue is just a woman. How big a storm can she make? Wu Yuanyang said gloomily. That won't do. It's related to my son's throne. We can't allow any danger to exist. Zhang Sun Chengdu said. In fact, it's simple. Tomorrow night is the marriage contest. At that time, as long as Chen Rui kills the boy surnamed Qin, Zhao Xingyue will have to marry into the Qin family. When she leaves the palace, we can do whatever we want to her. Killing her will be as easy as pinching an ant. Wu Yuanyang said with some worry. I thought so before, but that boy surnamed Qin is too strange. Even I suffered a loss in his hands. I'm afraid that Chen Rui won't be able to take advantage of it at all. Zhang Sun Chengdu shook his head and said, You are not a warrior, so you don't know the importance of strength. As long as you are in the arena, even if the boy surnamed Qin has 1,000 tricks, he won't be able to use them. In the face of absolute strength, everything is fleeting. Chen Rui's cultivation is originally at the early stage of the body integration realm. I will give him a yuan boosting pill just in case. Qin Haodong is only at the completion of the void training realm. His strength is too weak. We will definitely win this contest. Wu Yuanyang said. Well, I'll leave this matter to you. Don't make a mistake. Zhang Sun Chengdu said. These are all trivial matters. The most important thing is not to let Zhao Xianlong know the relationship between you and us. Wu Yuanyang said. This matter is known only by heaven and earth. Only you and I, and no one else. If we don't say it, Zhao Xianlong won't know that he has passed the throne to our son even in death. In the Divine Machine Camp, time passed bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, Qin Haodong had stayed here for nearly 20 hours. Qin Haodong reopened the door of the furnace and took out all the things he had put in. As soon as these things were in his hands, a strong yin qi rushed over. This strong aura seemed to freeze all his blood vessels. He hurriedly ran the greenwood genuine qi in his body to resist it. Amazing! Qin Haodong sighed and put all the bullets into the 7th stage pagoda. Then he took out a bullet and put it into the desert eagle in his hand. The desert eagle, although he did not shoot it, he could still feel the power contained in this bullet. Even ordinary bows and arrows were so powerful after being fed and eroded by the yin qi, let alone bullets that were dozens of times more powerful than bows and arrows. He even had an impulse to go to Nation Master Sun Chengdu and test the power of the sniper rifle in his hand. However, he just thought about it. The most important thing now was the upcoming marriage contest. He could not let Zhao Xingyue fall into the hands of Chen Rui. He packed up everything and walked out of the basement. After saying goodbye to the general, he walked out of the divine machine camp. As soon as he walked out of the gate, he saw Zhao Xingyue waiting there with the little witch and the others. Qin Haodong said, "What are you doing here? You have the nerve to ask. The stage for the marriage contest has been set up. Why did you come out so late?" Zhao Xingyue stepped forward and grabbed his arm. She said nervously, "The contest is about to start. Chen Rui is very powerful. Are you sure you can win?" Although she was very confident in Qin Haodong, it was related to her lifelong happiness, so she could not help but be a little nervous. The little she-devil followed and said, "Yes, little brother. Are you sure you can do it? If you lose, Sister Xingyue, I won't agree. If I lose, I'll marry you." Qin Haodong pinched the little witch's nose and turned to Zhao Xingyue and said, "Don't worry. I won't lose you even if I die." After getting this guarantee, Zhao Xingyue felt sweet in her heart. "Nonsense again. If you die, who will I marry?" The little witch said, "Okay, don't be so sweet. The contest is about to start. If you are late, it will be regarded as an automatic surrender. Then you can only marry yourself." "That's right. Let's go quickly. We can't be late." Zhao Xingyue took Qin Haodong's hand, and they hurried to the palace. Chapter 944. The Black Tortoise Kingdom was founded on martial arts. There was a huge arena in the palace, which was usually used for people to practice martial arts. When Qin Haodong and his companions arrived, there were already thousands of people gathered here. There were palace guards, nobles, and ministers of the kingdom who were ready for battle. A stand was set up directly opposite the arena. Zhao Xianlong and Wu Yuanyang sat side by side on it, and a chair was added next to them. It was Sun Chengqing, the national teacher. Under the arena, a young man with an arrogant expression was already standing there. He was Chen Rui, who was going to compete with Qin Haodong today. This guy's father was Chen Xianling, the minister of the Ministry of War of the Black Tortoise Kingdom. He held great power, and he was Zhang Sun Chengqing's best friend, so no one dared to provoke him in the entire Black Tortoise Kingdom. He had developed an arrogant and domineering character. He had been specially instructed by his father, Chen Xianling and Zhang Sun Chengqing, to not only win, but also kill Qin Haodong to get rid of future troubles. Chen Rui was very confident about this. Although this guy was used to bullying people, his cultivation was solid. He was known as a peerless genius of the Chen family in 1,000 years. When he heard that Qin Haodong's cultivation was only at the peak of the void training realm, he was even more dismissive. He had learned the 8-armed dragon fist from his master since he was a child. Now he had reached the basic level, and was known as the 8-armed little dragon. It could be said that he was invincible among the younger generation of the royal family. In his opinion, an opponent who was one level lower than him could be crushed to death with a casual move of his fingers. Looking at the setting sun that was about to disappear, Zhang Sun Chengdu said, "Your Majesty, it's almost time. Qin Haodong hasn't shown up yet. It seems that he doesn't take this contest seriously." Wu Yuanyang said very cooperatively, "Yes, it's a contest for marriage, and the competition for the son-in-law of our Black Tortoise Kingdom. It's such a big event. How can he be late? He's looking down on the Black Tortoise royal family." Zhao Xianlong said indifferently, "It's nothing. After all, it's not time yet." Wu Yuanyang said, "But you can also see his attitude. You see, Chen Rui has come here early. This is his respect for the Black Tortoise royal family." While she was talking, she suddenly saw Qin Haodong, Zhao Xingyue, and the others coming in from outside. Seeing that they had arrived, Zhao Xianlong said to Si Baoquan, the Minister of Internal Affairs, who was beside him, "Go and get ready. The competition is about to begin." Si Baoquan nodded and took Qin Haodong to the ring. Chen Rui jumped up and glanced at Qin Haodong contemptuously. "Boy, you finally dare to come? Did he go to prepare for his funeral?" Qin Haodong nodded and said, "Yes, I'm going to prepare for your funeral. I'll prepare more paper money for you, so that you won't come to me after you die. You. Chen Rui was so angry that his face turned red. Brat, there's no need to argue. Just watch how I kill you later. At this time, Zhang Sunqing stood up on the stage and announced the rules of today's martial arts competition. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day of our Black Tortoise Kingdom's Princess Xingyue's prince consort. Between Chen Rui and Qin Haodong, these two outstanding youths, whoever emerges victorious will become our Black Tortoise Kingdom's prince consort. Before the competition, I will announce 2 rules. First, you are not allowed to use any weapons other than your own cultivation base, and you are not allowed to summon any magical beasts to assist you in battle. Second, our Black Tortoise Kingdom was founded on martial arts. Fists and feet have no eyes, so this competition will be held to the death. After these 2 rules were announced, the crowd below the stage burst into an uproar. Not allowing the use of weapons in a martial arts competition, this has never been seen before. Why is there such a rule all of a sudden? Magical beasts are a part of one's cultivation base. Why are they not allowed to use them? In the past, the martial arts competition would stop at a certain point and determine the winner. Why is there suddenly a rule of life and death? It looks like something big is going to happen. Zhao Xingyue came in and sat next to Zhao Xianlong. She nervously grabbed her father's arm and whispered, "Father, shouldn't we stop at a certain point?" Zhao Xianlong patted her hand and comforted her. "Don't panic, believe in Qin Haodong." Although the father and daughter spoke in low voices, Zhang Suncheng was standing next to them, and his cultivation base was extraordinary. Naturally, he could hear their conversation clearly. A sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. They had made sufficient preparations for today's competition. First, they restricted Qin Haodong's 3-legged golden toad. And then they prepared a great yuan burst pill for Chen Rui just in case. At this moment in his eyes, Qin Haodong was already a dead man. After the preparations were ready, Si Baoquan, who was the referee on the stage, shouted, "The competition begins." Chen Rui had been waiting for a long time. When he heard the word begin, he immediately punched out. His fist technique was called the 8-armed dragon god fist. When practiced to the extreme, each punch was equivalent to having 8 arms. Although it was only at the initial stage, each punch was as many as 6 arms. The fist shadows looked like mountains, and the momentum was terrifying. Young Master Chen is so powerful, worthy of being the number 1 among the younger generation in Royal City. As expected of the 8-armed dragon god fist, even I can't take this kind of fist technique. Where did this kid on the stage come from? How dare he compete with young Master Chen? Isn't he courting death? Everyone who was watching the battle was overwhelmingly optimistic about Chen Rui. In the face of the mountain-like fist shadows, Qin Haodong didn't care at all. No matter how many fists there were, they were just illusions. There was only one real one. With the strength of his spirit, it was easy for him to distinguish which was real and which was fake. With a slight movement of his feet, he dodged the attack. Chen Rui was slightly stunned and somewhat surprised. Then he punched out again, and the sky was filled with fist shadows that drowned Qin Haodong's figure. From the outside, it seemed that he had an absolute advantage, but he was extremely depressed. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't even touch the corner of his opponent's clothes. Zhao Xianlong's slightly furrowed brows relaxed. As an expert at the peak of the form synthesis stage, he naturally knew that although Qin Haodong was at a disadvantage on the battlefield, he actually had an absolute advantage in terms of strength. Zhang Suncheng's expression didn't change much, although he could also see that Qin Haodong's strength was not weaker than Chen Rui at the early stage of the form synthesis stage, and even a little stronger than him. It was only limited to the early stage of the form synthesis stage. As long as Chen Rui swallowed the explosive yuan pill, his cultivation would instantly be promoted to the peak of the form synthesis stage. At that time, he could completely rely on his cultivation to have a crushing advantage. Chen Rui, who was on the stage, became more and more anxious after failing to attack for a long time. He shouted angrily, "What's the use of always dodging? If you are a man, don't dodge." Qin Haodong had almost seen his fist technique. He said coldly, "As you wish." As he spoke, he raised his hand and punched Chunrui's fist shadows. With a muffled bang, the fist shadows all over the sky disappeared, and the fists of the two men collided. Everyone present was amazed. How did this young man find Chunrui's fist in the sky full of fist shadows? But what happened next shocked them even more. After the two of them collided with each other, Qin Haodong stood still, while Chunrui flew backward for more than 10 meters like a sandbag that had been hit. If he hadn't reacted quickly and touched the guardrail of the ring with his feet, he would have been knocked out of the ring. What's going on? How did the situation turn around in an instant? Chunrui had an absolute advantage just now, but now he was knocked out by a punch. Who the hell is this kid? He looks younger than Chunrui, but why is his cultivation not weaker at all? No wonder he dares to participate in the marriage competition. He is indeed very capable. In the midst of many discussions, Chunrui's face became extremely ugly. Of course, this was not the result he wanted. Boy, go to hell. In his opinion, Qin Haodong just got lucky and found his fist by a fluke. So he performed the 8-armed dragon fist again, and pounced forward crazily. But the result was still the same. Qin Haodong still found his fist effortlessly in the fist shadows, and sent him flying with another punch. Chunrui stood on the ring, and his internal organs were greatly shaken. Coupled with the grievance in his heart, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. At this time, a subtle voice sounded in his ear. You are no match for him even if you fight head-on. Take the Great Yuan Explosion Pill directly. The voice transmission was naturally from Zhang Suncheng on the stage. He had already seen the situation on the stage clearly. If he continued to fight head-on, Chunrui might be punched out of the ring. At that time, it would be too late for him to take the Yuan Explosion Pill. So he sent a voice transmission to remind him. Qin Haodong said with a smile. How about it? Do you still want to fight? Boy, you forced me to do this. After Chunrui said that, he raised his hand and swallowed a black pill. Then the aura of his body began to rise suddenly. Middle stage of body integration, late stage of body integration, and there was no sign of it stopping. It seemed that he would soon reach the great perfection of body integration. What kind of pill is this? How did it improve his cultivation so much? This is the Great Yuan Explosion Pill. Ordinary Yuan Explosion pills can't achieve this effect. Young Master Chun is about to reach the great perfection of body integration. This kid is completely finished. Zhao Xingyue's expression changed drastically and she shouted, Father, he actually took the pill to improve his cultivation. This is against the rules. Before Zhao Xianlong could speak, Zhang Suncheng, who was at the side, said indifferently, Your Highness, that's not right. The rules of the competition that we announced earlier didn't prohibit the use of pills. If that kid has the ability, he can also use pills. You're being unreasonable. Zhao Xingyue was so angry that her face turned red. Wu Yuanyang and Zhang Suncheng had first used the rules to restrict the three-legged golden toad, and then let Chunrui take the Great Yuan Explosion Pill. It was obvious that they were protecting Chunrui and cheating openly. Wu Yuanyang said, Why is it unreasonable? The rules didn't prohibit the use of pills. Taking pills? I have some too. After Qin Haodong said that, he also took out a Great Yuan Explosion Pill and swallowed it. The Great Yuan Explosion Pill was the top of the 6th grade pills. It was extremely difficult to refine. Even an 8th grade alchemist would find it difficult to refine high-quality pills. He had just seen that the Great Yuan Explosion Pill, that Chunrui had eaten, did not even have elixir patterns. This level of pill could at most raise his cultivation to the great perfection of body integration. The Great Yuan Explosion Pill that he had refined was of extremely high quality. It had 3 elixir patterns and could directly raise his cultivation from the great perfection of void training to the great perfection of body integration. However, he had just taken a small Yuan Explosion Pill. If he took another Great Yuan Explosion Pill, although the effect would not be affected, the period of weakness would be longer. Chunrui's eyes widened when he felt the sudden increase in Qin Haodong's aura. He originally thought that he could crush Qin Haodong, after eating the Great Yuan Explosion pill. He did not expect that Qin Haodong's aura would improve faster than his and reach the great perfection of void training first. Zhang Suncheng's expression changed drastically when he felt Qin Haodong's rapid improvement. What kind of pill did this kid take? How could his cultivation improve so fast? Chapter 945. After feeling Qin Haodong's strength, Zhao Xingyue's heart was finally at ease. She said to Zhang Suncheng, "The national master just said that you can take the elixir at will. Are you going back on your word now?" Zhang Suncheng did not speak, but his face became more and more ugly. His Great Yuan boosting elixir was bought from the president of the Black Tortoise Kingdom Pharmacists Guild. How could it be inferior to the one in Qin Haodong's hand? In the arena, Qin Haodong glanced at Chen Rui and said, "I'll give you another chance. Admit defeat now and I can spare your life." "Boy, you're the one who's going to die," Chen Rui roared. The Great Yuan boosting elixir just made him feel unprecedentedly powerful. Although Qin Haodong seemed to be much stronger, in his heart, he was definitely no match for him. Therefore, when his cultivation reached the peak of the form synthesis stage, he used the 8-armed dragon fist again. This punch actually transformed into 7 arms, which was a whole new level compared to before. The fist shadows that filled the sky had the power to topple mountains and overturn seas. Dragon goes to sea. After another roar, the fist shadows all over the sky condensed into a giant dragon, which opened its mouth and pounced on Qin Haodong. Seeing the power of this punch, Zhao Xingyue, who had just relaxed, immediately became nervous again. Her beautiful eyes stared at the arena. "You've brought this upon yourself." Qin Haodong also punched. His punch seemed to be extremely slow and ordinary, but after colliding with the giant dragon, it instantly disintegrated the opponent. "Ah!" Then came Chen Rui's heart-wrenching scream. His body flew down from the arena, like a meteor, and fell to the ground with a plop. Of course, the fewer Wu Yuanyang's henchmen, the better. So Qin Haodong did not hold back at all. This punch directly shattered Chen Rui's internal organs. Chen Rui fell to the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood mixed with pieces of internal organs. Before anyone could come to help, he had already died. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Qin Haodong to have such great power after swallowing the elixir. He ended Chen Rui's life with just one punch. Zhang Suncheng and Wu Yuanyang's faces were extremely ugly. They did not care about Chen Rui's death. What they cared about was that the plan had failed again. As long as they could not completely control Zhao Xingyue, it would be a threat to their son Zhao Yu. "Rui!" Chen Xianling, who had just been complacent, let out a cry of grief and immediately rushed to Chen Rui's side. As soon as he saw that his son had died, his eyes suddenly turned red. He shouted angrily at Qin Haodong on the stage, "This was just a competition. I didn't expect you to be so cruel and merciless. You killed my son. I'll kill you." As soon as he finished speaking, he leaped towards the ring, but was slapped back by Si Baoquan, the minister of the imperial palace. "Lord Chen, this is a duel held by the king. What are you doing?" Only then did Chen Xianling realize his gaffe. He knelt down below the stage and shouted to Zhao Xianlong on the stage, "Your Majesty, this person is extremely cruel. He actually killed my son Chen Rui. Your Majesty, please uphold justice for me." Seeing Qin Haodong win, Zhao Xianlong was overjoyed, but he didn't show it on his face. He looked at Chen Xianling with a gloomy face and said, "Why should I make decisions for you? Didn't you hear the rules of the duel announced by the nation master just now? Fists and feet have no eyes. Once on the stage, life and death are determined by fate. Chen Rui can only blame himself for his lack of skill. How can you blame others? You're making a big fuss now. What's with that?" This, Chen Xianling was speechless. He turned his head and looked at Zhang Suncheng, hoping that his master could stand up for his son. But Zhao Xianlong had just used words to trap Zhang Suncheng. He was the one who announced the rules and said life and death were determined by fate. Now that Chen Rui was dead, what could he say? Therefore, Zhang Suncheng and Wu Yuanyang could only look away without looking at Chen Xianling. Zhao Xianlong said, "What are you still doing here? Hurry up and take care of your son's funeral." Then he said to the stage, "Today's duel is over. Announce the result." Si Baoquan understood, and immediately said loudly to the crowd below the stage, "Qin Haodong won today's duel. From now on, he is the son-in-law of our Xuanwu kingdom." Boom! There was a burst of cheers. More than half of the ministers of Xuanwu kingdom were still loyal to Zhao Xianlong. Hearing the result, they were extremely excited and cheered continuously. Only Wu Yuanyang and Zhang Suncheng on the stage became more and more ugly. Zhao Xianlong glanced at Zhang Suncheng with a smile and said, "National Master, I finally have a son-in-law. Aren't you happy?" Zhang Suncheng tried his best to squeeze out a smile and said with an ugly expression, "Of course I'm happy that Xuanwu Kingdom has a son-in-law. But I accidentally caught a cold last night, and am a little dizzy. I'll take my leave first." Zhao Xianlong secretly laughed. Zhang Suncheng was an expert at the great vehicle stage. It could be said that he was almost invincible. How could he get a cold? Knowing that his opponent's plan had failed, he felt extremely uncomfortable. Since his opponent was unhappy, it was definitely a happy thing for him. He said happily, "Well, National Master is the pillar of Xuanwu Kingdom. You must take good care of your body and don't overwork yourself. Then I'll take my leave first." After saying that, Zhang Suncheng strode out of the martial arts field. After going out, he immediately waved his hand and called over his 4 disciples who were following behind him. These 4 people were all his direct disciples. Their cultivation had reached the form synthesis stage. They were famous in King City and were known as the 4 Great Vajras. "Master, what's the matter?" Enai Hung, the eldest disciple of the sect leader, asked. Zhang Suncheng said with a gloomy expression, "Qin Haodong ruined my plan. Later, the 4 of you will go and get rid of him together to avoid future troubles." Enai Hung was also at the martial arts field just now and saw the whole process clearly. He said worriedly, "Master, Qin Haodong's cultivation can be promoted to the peak of the form synthesis stage after eating the Big Yuan explosion pill. It seems that the 4 of us are no match for him. It's best for you to take action." Zhang Suncheng said, "You don't have to be afraid of this. Although the Big Yuan explosion pill can greatly improve your cultivation, it can only be used once within 12 hours, and there will be a long period of weakness. Qin Haodong is now in a period of weakness, and is no different from ordinary people. It will not be difficult for you to kill him. What you have to be careful is to be secretive, and don't let the people of the Black Tortoise royal family catch you." "Yes, Master." Enai Hung agreed, and left with the other 3 brothers. In the palace, the atmosphere at the scene was extremely warm. Everyone congratulated Zhao Xianlong. Zhao Xingyue was finally relieved. She glanced at Qin Haodong, and then left the scene shyly. It was just a competition for marriage, not an engagement ceremony or a wedding. Therefore, after a round of celebration, everyone quickly dispersed. Qin Haodong also left the palace with the little she-devil and the others, heading for the courier station. The little witch took Qin Haodong's arm and said with a smile, "Little brother, you are now the son-in-law of the Black Tortoise Kingdom. Are you happy?" In the Black Tortoise Kingdom, men were superior to women and polygamy was a common phenomenon. It was absolutely rare for a man like Luo Dongqing to marry only one wife and be henpecked to death. Therefore, even if Qin Haodong won the marriage contest, the other girls did not care much because they still had the chance to marry their sweetheart. Qin Haodong's mood was extremely complicated. This marriage contest was more to help Zhao Xingyue. He had not yet figured out how to face her feelings. The little witch did not know his mood, and continued to say with a smile, "When we return to the academy, I will also hold a marriage contest, and you will have to fight for me." Qin Haodong was speechless. He really did not know what was in this little girl's head. The Black Tortoise Royal City was extremely quiet at night. In addition, this was not the modern Earth. There were no street lights in the city. In the darkness, only the lanterns in the hands of a few people were shining. It was not too far from the palace to the station, But flying was forbidden here, so they had to walk for a while. When they were halfway there, Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat as he keenly sensed that someone was following behind him. Needless to say, he could guess that these people must have been sent by Zhang Sunsheng and Wu Yuanyang. They must be dissatisfied after losing the martial arts competition, so it was expected that they would resort to some underhanded means. At this time, he was in a weak period after using the Great Yuan boosting pill. He had no cultivation at all, and the little witch was an unreliable summoner. Tu Jiaojiao, Morong Jinghong, and the others were all at the void training stage, so they had no ability to resist against those at the form synthesis stage. In this way, the situation became extremely dangerous. Once they fought, these girls would not only not be able to help, but would also be hurt. He had already thought about how to deal with these killers following him, but the most important thing now was to separate from these girls. Thinking of this, he suddenly covered his stomach and cried, "I have a stomachache. I need to go to the toilet. You go back first." Tu Jiaojiao said, "How could this be? We'll wait for you here." Qin Haodong said, "No, I may have eaten something bad. It will take a long time. You go back first." The girls thought for a moment. It was indeed not very elegant for them to wait here while a man went to the toilet, so they didn't think too much and returned to the station first. After they left, Qin Haodong turned around and shouted, "Since you're here, come out. There's no need to hide. Boy, you're quite vigilant. Since you're in a hurry, we'll send you on your way." As soon as the voice fell, 4 figures appeared from the darkness, each with a ghost mask on his face. Qin Haodong thought of something and took out an AK-47 from his storage ring. He asked the 4 people, "Who are you?" These people had never seen a gun, let alone its power. They didn't care when they saw Qin Haodong take out such a thing. The leader of the men in black said, "Can't you see? We're from the Ghost King sect." Qin Haodong said, "Do you want the Ghost King sect to take the blame again? Tell me the truth. Was it Wu Yuanyang or Zhang Sunsheng who sent you?" These people were indeed not from the Ghost King sect. The leader was an I Hung, the eldest disciple of Zhang Sunsheng. He said, "Boy, you're really smart, but smart people generally don't live long. As for who we are, you can ask the king of hell when you die." "Eldest brother, why are you talking so much with this boy? I'll send him to hell now." The one who spoke was the 4th of the 4 King Kongs. He was tall and strong, and he practiced external kung fu, so he was as strong as a black bear. After that, he stretched out his fan-like hand and grabbed Qin Haodong's neck. Puff, puff, puff. As soon as he reached out, Qin Haodong pulled the trigger in his hand. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.